Alright, greetings everyone, welcome to the Get There stream. I'm back after a few weeks.
Strong start.
Strongest start possible, actually. Doing some modern or something.
Yep, just the usual. Pretty relatively normal modern lineup. Well, I guess not actually. For the most part, most of these decks are a little bit out of the main when we're thinking about it. But as far as it goes for modern, a lot of the decks are viable. You kind of can play whatever it is as long as it has a chance.
Yes.
And so for round one, we're going to have Harley here with Rug Scape Shift. So playing this deck over the just straight red-green Scape Shift, more something so that you can play a little bit more of a game instead of putting your lands into play.
Well, like right now, having the blue actually does help out a little bit. We're in a point in modern where you don't need to necessarily just aggro out your Valakut plan to win the game. And that way you get to have access to cards like Search for Azcanta, Jason the Mind Sculptor, Cryptic Command, things to like interact with your opponent outside of just, killing them.
It's a very important question.
What's that?
Does Harley's deck only contain 58 cards in it?
We'll figure it out.
As of the moment, that's what it looks like.
Don't worry about it.
But he will be up against Sebastian on Death and Taxes, as he has been playing for the last couple of weeks here.
Yep.
A deck that he's just grown very, very familiar with. Couple changes from the last week, back to Selfless Spirit and Kitchen Finks in his main deck.
Yep. So this deck, this matchup is interesting because he does have cards that are very good. His Leonin Arbiter plan is very strong here. His Thalia plan is very strong. Some of his other cards can be a little silly in this matchup, but in general, this deck, if it has the right draws, can handle what Harley is trying to do very well.
I also seem to have overheard that the very two cards that were missing from his deck were actually Valakut.
Okay, I noticed that there were two Valakut, and I didn't want to say anything because I would just assume that was supposed to be there, but apparently I was wrong, and they're not. They're actually supposed to be in the deck. 4 of the cards that the deck is named after. Well, deck's named after Escape Shift, but same difference.
All right. So I'm not exactly sure which direction this matchup's going to go. Not one I've seen a lot of times. The red-green, it seems to be very important on how early Sebastian lands a Leonin Arbiter versus what ramp Harley has in this type of matchup. But for as far as the blue version, does blue give any strengths in this matchup, or does it make it a little bit weaker?
I think it makes it a little bit weaker because the blue cards that you get are Remand, not that great here. Cryptic Command is a little clunky in this matchup. It can do some work, but it's still pretty clunky. Search for Azcanta, it's not great. And Jason the Mind Sculptor, same thing with Cryptic. So honestly, the things you gain aren't really worth it in this matchup particularly, because a lot of the cards you're adding don't do anything, whereas if you were running more ramp spells, you could just try to go for the plan of aggressively killing him.
Yeah, the more ramp spells makes your deck a lot more linear, but the blue spells make it to where you can have a little bit more game against opposing blue spells, opposing interaction, that type of thing. Sebastian here taking a mulligan on his start here. Well, Harley, I didn't get a great look at what he had. I believe there was at least a lightning bolt in it with a couple lands. Search for Tomorrow, kind of the general thing he's looking for in the sub matchup. Didn't get a great look at who's going first. There's also looks like there's a Jace.
There's definitely a Jace, the Mind Sculptor, in his hand. That card, it could see some play. He can cast it on turn 3 with the search. May not necessarily be correct to do so, but he does have that option.
Is that a Vendilion Click in his list beside the Jace, or is that a blue card of a different type?
I can't tell. It does kind of look like a Vendilion Click, though. We just had the list up, and I don't remember if I saw it.
Could not tell you. But Sebastian here, his hand having no white mana to start with, but Aether Vial is there. So he has the ability to play his cards, but otherwise he just has 2 Throbbing Inspectors and a Eldrazi Displacer.
So he does have the ability to play the Throbbing Inspector and Crack the Clue this turn. Gets to draw a card. Gets a little bit 1 mana creature in play, not that great, but he does get to start getting some card advantage, and then next turn he'll be able to play the Thalia or another 2-drop if he draws into 1.
Yeah, picking up the Thalia there helps his curve, makes it to where he doesn't have to do something like on his with the upkeep trigger on the stack, put the other Inspector in to make sure that we get to use it.
Yeah.
Harley here just playing down Search for Azcanta to pair with his Search for Tomorrow. We're looking for a lot of things. He's just really searching as much as possible. Sebastian picks up a Ghost Quarter though, so he's able to unlock his white mana eventually, and he does have a Path to Exile, not exactly the type of card you want in this matchup. The Rug Shift deck, not as much a Primeval Titan deck and more on the controlling cards in those slots.
Do want to mention something real quick. So apparently there are Vendilion Clicks in the deck.
Okay.
But Harley misspelled Vendilion Click.
Those were what we were missing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's that.
All right, so it's 2 Vendilion Clicks is the card that we were missing.
Yeah, so he actually is supposed to be running 2 Valakuts. So.
Alrighty. Glad to have that all shored up. Yep, so we have Jace, Vendilion Click, Lightning Bolt, and 2 Stomping Grounds are the leftover for Harley. Sebastian here, having to Ghost Quarters on Tectonic Edge is definitely not the type of thing he wants to do in a matchup like this.
No, it's not great here, honestly.
So, I'm kind of interested to see him doing it here. He already has access. Oh, it's okay. So he can deploy this Displacer sooner. Yeah. So he just wants to go in and get more pressure in, and we're gonna go ahead and violin a Thalia to make sure that the Searcher tomorrow rather costs more potentially.
Yeah. Costs 1 more, so it's not completely free, and it prevents Harley from casting a 4-drop this turn.
Also, I did just notice with their setup that chat was not put on the side of our screen.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and get that fixed as soon as possible. Make it to where we can actually hold the conversation with y'all.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine. Just just keep talking, and hopefully you won't say anything relevant.
Yeah.
Spike, there's something literally on fire. Just like, nah, can't read that. Players will die. It's fine.
So Harley here just going to go ahead and get an island. I assume just not wanting to get rid of too many of his mountains. This deck having a harder time to just escape shift through your opponent if you don't keep very specific lands in the deck.
Yeah.
Here he's going to have to shock in one of these lands, and he shocks in a Steam Fence if he wants to use his Lightning Bolt. And passing to Sebastian seems a little weird unless the card that he does want to gun for is the Eldrazi Displacer.
Yeah, but the problem is that he's passing to Sebastian with an Aether Vial on 3.
Yeah, because now if, say, there was a Flicker Wisp in this mix, it would mess up the Lightning Bolt altogether. Luckily for Harley, there is no Flicker Wisp from Sebastian at the moment. Just a Throbbing Inspector and a Path to Exile.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you heard, Corey, about the chat. Cool, thank you. But, Lightning Bolt going to cost 1 more, not really going to matter here. Alright. There we go.
Yeah.
So I believe that was Bolt on Displacer.
Yep.
I think in response, Sebastian's looking at flickering the... Yep, Lieutenant's out of combat. Just go ahead and get himself another clue.
So he's missing out on 1 damage, which doesn't matter all that much, but he's getting to draw an additional card, which, considering how low he is on cards right now and how far Harley is away from winning the game, that makes sense.
It specifically doesn't seem to matter, the card disadvantage part, or the damage disadvantage, doesn't really matter all that much with him having the second Throbbing Inspector.
Yeah.
If he didn't have the second Inspector, the change from 3 damage a turn to 2 damage a turn for that single turn actually would have made it to where Harley had an extra draw step in the current situation. But, yeah, being able to keep up the same amount of a clock, and Sebastian just drawing another Aether Vial here, so he has to hope for these clues to find him something that matters.
Yeah. That is one issue with this deck, is you can have kind of an awkward late game, because a lot of your cards, while they're good on their early game, like Aether Vial, they're not as impactful later on.
That's just one of the things that I personally hate about cards like Aether Vial, is that they're great on turn 1, but if they're anywhere that isn't turn 1, it is just not a good card.
Yeah, drawing one like on turn 7 is just absolutely vile, and no one really wants to deal with that, but...
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people that play Aether Vial decks tend to swear by Aether Vial decks. Like, they're not just like, I casually play Aether Vial. They're like, I love the card Aether Vial.
It's just, it is a very, very powerful tempo card.
Yes.
But outside of being exactly a powerful tempo card, I'm just never impressed by it.
Yeah.
But Clue cracked, rather, and picked up a Thalia from it. Harley here, Vendilion clicking end of turn, seeing a Past Exile of Thalia and an Aether Vial.
Yep.
Unsure if he's really going to even take anything. If Sebastian wants to pass the Exile of Vendilion Click, I think he's fine with that.
So Aether Vial's the dead card, Thalia is the dead card, and Path to Exile just helps out Harley's plan. At this point, I don't think Harley should take anything.
Harley's leftovers after this, though, are double Stomping Ground and Jace, so he might be in a position where he has to play a little bit of a weird game to try to go ahead and close here. He will have his lands 6 and 7 lined up, so if he is able to find Escape Shift within the top 2 of his 2 next cards, he will be able to go for the 18, and this Vendilion Click will be able to fly over for the next 2, or the 3 damage to make the 18 actually lethal. But Search for Azcanta has some work to find.
Yeah, I feel like at this point though, Harley might be going on the plan of just holding back the Vendalion click and forcing Sebastian to act on it, because that doesn't affect the escape shift plan either, because if he passes it, that just puts him up one more land.
Okay. Harley here looked at the card with search and very quickly kept it. It was just another mountain though. Are we at that low of a mountain count where we can't mill any of them?
I know that the deck is on a very low amount of mountains. I'm not sure the exact amount. I remember this being an issue in other games I've seen him play.
Yeah. Well, I suppose also if we're dealing with Jace here, we can put the mountain second from the bottom so that we can make sure that it stays in our deck. So he goes ahead and brainstorms here. It looks like he picked up the Sakura Tri-Bolter. Is that Escape Shift in the middle? It looks like it, and a Lightning Bolt. Those are some 3 very, very good cards.
Yep.
To find off of this. But, yeah, at the moment it looks like we have, if this Vendilion Click does attack, a pretty easy game, lethal the next turn, assuming that there are that many mountains left in the deck.
Yeah, that is a big part of Harley winning, because if there aren't enough mountains, it's just awkward.
Another Aether Vial for Sebastian, and if I remember right at the beginning of the game, he Scry bottomed an Aether Vial, but I don't think that part matters. No, yeah, because the Ghost Quarter did have him shuffle at some point in this game. But, so, while he got the tempo out the Eldrazi Displacer, his Aether Vial hasn't done anything since it was ticked up by 3.
Yep.
So he forced a Lightning Bolt a little bit earlier, but he got rid of a Ghost Quarter and a Tectonic Edge and shuffled the bottomed Aether Vial back into his deck.
I don't think the shuffling in matters that much, but I think that I understand why he went for the Ghost Quarter on my own plan. I honestly just kind of like holding the Tech Edge considering this matchup.
And the Ghost Quarter. Both have a very relevant thing to do in this matchup, because Volakut checks on Resolution.
It checks on Resolution, though Ghost Quartering in response to the triggers is a bit riskier than Tech Edging.
Oh, absolutely, but still, being able to get rid of these cards does have a big
Or
effect.
if Harley gets greedy and puts out Valakut into it.
There were, just being able to hold those back would have made this game much, much different, because now I believe Harley should have a guaranteed lethal here, especially because this Click's going to be able to get over for a couple more points of damage, and there's no threat of like a Lenin Arbiter in response to anything, so you can bolt and Escape Shift here.
Yeah. So long as he has enough mountains to do it, this should be lethal no matter what Sebastian does.
Yeah, so I wonder what the thought is here. I can't really imagine anything on 3. A Flicker Wisp would muck up this, right?
A Flicker Wisp would muck it up, correct.
Because there wouldn't be enough mountains anymore, and the Escape Shift would just not work.
There's that Valakut boy.
If you control at least 5 other... Yeah, and that does check on Resolution, correct?
Yeah. That came up a fair amount.
Yeah, oh yeah. So yep, Lightning goes to the face. Sebastian goes down to 11. Escape Shift gets cast. There are no copies of Flicker Wisp in the hand of Sebastian to muck this up in any way, so Sebastian will be taking plenty more than 11.
Yep.
And yep, here just comes the 18 to face.
Sebastian just sticking around, making him show the 6 mountains.
I want confirmation that these mountains exist. Yep, and there are definitely plenty still left in the deck. And I think the very top card should be a mountain card of some sort. Yep, and there is Escape Shift, the oddly powerful card that I'm sure when it was printed was the most innocuous bulk rare in the world.
When it was printed, it was not that great. It was it was right on par with Magose, the Water Bell.
Oh yeah?
Isn't that? Yeah, that's the one.
That's the like you take
extra turn thing.
Yeah.
They get an extra turn and then you get an extra turn.
Yeah, it's Temperous.
Yeah, but it bounces back to your hand.
Uh-huh.
So you can't even abuse it.
There's no way to abuse it. You can't like increase the counters on it anyway.
I think there's one way. No, there's no way to abuse it. Aside from Rings of Brightheart, there's no way of using it. Aside from copying the trigger.
All right. So Harley picks up game 1 pretty convincingly after like it was kind of a weird game, but yeah, I think just those lands earlier and how Sebastian treated them is kind of just one of the ways that Harley was able to go ahead and get there.
Yep.
So we'll have sideboarding. Which side do you want to go ahead and take for this matchup?
I'll go into Sebastian's side.
Sure.
Since I'm on this side.
You want to go ahead and do him?
All right. So he has 2 Burnt and Forge Tinders, which are going to be brought in because they're going to be some type of ward wipes. He has not much else that's super impressive, honestly. he can bring in Phyrexian Revoker to stop Jason Mind Sculptor, and that's in Sakura Tribe Elder, which is reasonable. He's not running Sakura Tribe. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's a Tribe Elder deck.
So aside from that, he doesn't have a ton to do, and he can cut some of his clunkier cards, like Path to Exile specifically, in this matchup. Isn't so much clunky; it's just kind of useless.
Well, Path to Exile, in comparison to the red-green lists, there's pretty much no targets unless you want to be targeting something like a. There's not even a Snapcaster. No, there are. Okay.
There are 2 Snapcaster Mages and 2 Vendilion Clicks.
Yeah, so if you want to be targeting something like that, sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's really what you're going for. So Paths out, Forged Tenders, and Phyrexian Revokers in.
Yeah, that's probably what I would bring in. I don't see much else that would be super impressive.
All right, and then from Harley's side, Entry into Explosives is the card that generally is relatively good against Death and Taxes. A lot of their very important permanents are on 1 or 2, and occasionally a 3 Explosive is very good, so I'd expect both of those to come in. And then there's an argument for some copies of the Fire Spout. Pyroclasm effects are usually very good against Death and Taxes, and Pyroclasm +1 is even better.
Yeah, I think that you're definitely going to see EE plus at least 2 or 3 Fire Spouts. I'd expect the full 4, honestly.
I would expect to see the 2 Search for His Contest come out. It's kind of a slower card, doesn't really have that much of an effect on the matchup. The 1 Farseek that's just kind of hanging out doesn't seem like a card that's very, very impactful. Yeah. And then the 2 Vendilion Clicks probably aren't exactly for this type of matchup, or the Jason Mind Sculptor.
I'm not the biggest fan of Jason Mind Sculptor. He is a card that at least has some defense to him, but I could certainly see cutting that because he's really clunky in this matchup. And Vendilion Click can do some work in acting as a blocker, or sometimes you can get Sebastian, but usually it's just going to be a blocker.
What about Remand?
Remand.
Would you want to cut those before some of these other spells?
Yeah, Remand is probably the most cuttable card.
Alright, so like 4 Remand, 2 Search, you think, for 4 Fire Spout 2?
Yeah, that's most likely it. And then Vendilion Clicks and Jason Mind Sculptors are fine.
Alright, so Sebastian's happy with his opening hand. Looks like Plains Ghost Quarter in the mix with a Blade Splicer pushed to the front.
He also has a Leonin Arbiter, which with this Ghost Quarter is going to do a lot of work in this matchup.
Very, very good. And him picking up... does he have multiple Ghost Quarters? Because if Harley isn't able to answer this, he's going to have no more lands.
Also, that Search for Tomorrow won't be able to resolve.
Correct. There is a Lightning Bolt, though, in Harley's hand, so if he wants to answer it, he can. But it looks like he's just going to go for Sakura Tribe Elder, and that's a dangerous proposition.
Yeah, because if Sebastian has another Ghost Quarter, you just get blown out. You need to answer this right now.
Well, you get blown out even with just a single Ghost Quarter, which I almost like Sebastian not playing the Ghost Quarter. I understand you have the ability to use 2 Ghost Quarters in your next turn, but it's just so dangerous in my opinion. So 2 damage coming across, here's a Lightning Bolt, and I just don't like the sequencing from either of the players here.
I don't like not playing the other Ghost Quarter because he definitely has one.
Yeah, and I don't like the Lightning Bolt here in combat. I would have much rather seen it done in a different position.
Yeah, like, that whole combat was a bit weird.
Yeah, if Ghost Quarter had come down first, then Harley would have no lands with this Lightning Bolt. He would have just had to take the 2. And there are just a lot of different situations here. I mean, Sebastian obviously can't respond to Harley paying so that his Search for Tomorrow resolves, because you cannot respond to game actions.
Yeah, that is one of those weird things where it's not a trigger or anything. You just are like, I'm paying it. And
yeah, this is. I would like to activate the game action.
Yeah.
This does not use the stack in any way. It's a really weird situation. I see Sebastian explaining Chef at Dunes for about the 18th time.
Chef at Dunes is a card that modern players aren't very familiar with.
Phyrexian Revoker down from Sebastian. I'm not sure what it named. Were you able to overhear that by any chance?
I cannot hear it for the life of me. If I had to guess, I would say Sakura Tribe Elder.
Okay,
but
that would be your blind name in most situations.
That would be my blind name. I could see an argument for Jason Mind Sculptor.
Okay.
We will know very soon.
Yeah. Tribe Elder comes down. Sebastian picks up a 3rd Ghost Quarter. But Blade Splicer, Restoration Angel, and just a couple other lands. Tectonic Edge among them, it looks like. So he has the ability to mess with Harley's mana base quite a lot here. But luckily for the Scapeship deck, on average, they have to be relatively heavy on these basic lands to make it to where their deck actually works properly. Blade Splicer here going to come down, bring a Golem with it, and I'm imagining if Sakura Tribe Elder isn't getting sacrificed here that it can't.
Yeah, that would what I would imagine be the case as well, unless he's just like being really cautious with and holding it back as a blocker for future turns. But I honestly doubt that.
So we have Harley here end of turn finding a breeding pool off of Misty Rainforest, and as far as leftovers go, I'm not really sure exactly what he has. It looks like there's a Volakut, a couple islands, and a lightning bolt, and I can't get a Jace. Okay.
Yep.
So his hand kind of is pretty light on action here. Volakut just coming down as his land for turn, and Sebastian with a Tectonic Edge here just gets to take this out of the water.
Also, playing Valakut when you're only playing 2 is a bit.
And when you know your opponent has a Ghost Quarter,
yeah,
your deck doesn't win in many other ways.
Yeah, and I don't know that. I guess there's a reason that he needs to play it because he needs that other red source. But at the same time, when you know your opponent has that Ghost Quarter, just primed and ready to go. And also, apparently, you're wrong.
All right, Revoker must be on Jace. Okay, if this is what's happening here, and so that's interesting from Harley. I understand the reasoning, wanting to make it to where Sebastian doesn't do all too much damage with something like his Golem Token. But yeah, if Sebastian just plays down this Tectonic Edge and gets rid of this Volakut, he's going to put himself in a very, very good position. Yeah. And I would have to think that's slightly better than Restoration Angel here.
I could see waiting one more turn.
Okay.
Just because the Restoration Angel provides so much pressure. It adds 6 power to the board, which is a relevant amount of power to add.
That's completely fair.
And he shouldn't be dead next turn to anything.
Something just popped into my mind seeing that mismatching Ghost Quarter. It's the fact that I have his matching Ghost Quarter. I'll find it later.
So, Harley throwing a bolt at the Phyrexian Revoker, and I imagine right now what Sebastian's thinking about is whether or not he wants to flash into the Restoration Angel to keep it alive, or if he wants to hold it to create another golem. He decides to save it and provide himself some Jace Mind Sculptor protection.
I'm a pretty big fan of making sure that this Revoker stays on the board and keeps Jace locked in. We did get a confirmation that it is on Jace overheard. And Harley here just picked up another island, and his hand right now is just lands and a Jace that on the board has no ability to do anything.
Yeah. So at this point, Sebastian looks like he's comfortably in the driver's seat of this game and has Harley on a 2-turn clock.
Yep, we are doing rather well, and the only thing I would honestly be afraid of is something like Escape Shift plus a ramp spell of some sort. Yeah. So I would want to trim Harley down a land if we do have access to it.
Wasn't he at 18?
He was at 18. He's taking 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So Harley should be... Yes, because we have taken 2 at least. Hello? I'm not sure how life totals are positioned the way they are.
3, 6, 9.
But Tectonic Edge is going to take care of Volakut. Harley picks up another card. Didn't get a great look at what it was. Engineered Explosives. Okay. So Engineered Explosives is not going to look very good on this board with Sebastian having a hand or a board full of variant permanents.
Yeah.
It looks like he's going to have to come down on 2 here. And so coming down on 2 and popping, I believe, leaves him dead to Shafet Dunes?
Yes.
And Sebastian does have the plane, so as long as that's seen and we're not worried about a lightning bolt or something of the sort, then Sebastian will be able to just present lethal here.
Yeah.
Revoker down. Yeah, because if he has 7 and then Shafet Dunes has another 3. So yeah, that should be a clean 10 here as long as Sebastian sees it.
I believe he sees it.
Yep, I think we're doing the math right now. We're going to see the rare game where Shafet Dunes actually has an effect, and is it just a planes that activates Displacer?
Yeah, I've played Hexes a decent amount, like not nearly as much as Sebastian, obviously. I enjoy the deck. And like every time I draw this card, I'm like, man, this card's so medium. I know why it's in the deck, but man, is it medium.
It's like, I mean, it honestly in the deck is just a planes that activates Displacer.
Yeah,
that's its primary purpose, right?
But there are some times when you're like playing against a burn, and it's really awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're dealing yourself a bunch of damage that you don't need to be doing.
Oh yeah, there are so many games where you just have your painful planes, and you're like, how's my mono white deck have a City of Brass mana base?
Yeah, you're like, I have painful planes plus Eldrazi Temple, and then you end up taking like 4 damage off of it, and that's not necessarily great.
Did you give this to Sebastian? Thank you, Kirby. But okay, Sebastian going to get that game in rather convincing fashion, at least in this one. His deck just being able to stumble his opponent just enough.
Yep.
Some weird sequencing with some of the cards, but...
So, I will take a minute to go back since we're just shuffling right now. And I think that thinking about more, the reason that Sebastian may have held back the Ghost Quarter is because if there's just one Ghost Quarter, there's a better chance of Harley firing off that Lightning Bolt during combat as opposed to just holding the mana up.
I borrowed it from him. That's why there's a mismatching one in his deck.
Yeah. So I could see a reason that he held back the Ghost Order. I like playing a little bit more there, but I think that he was just trying to play around the removal spell that could be in Harley's hand and forcing him to bolt it at that point because just losing one land isn't that bad in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's correct for sure, but I think that's his line of thought behind it. So.
Okay, no, that's completely reasonable.
Yeah.
So Harley here going to go ahead and be on the play, and I feel like that's actually something that does matter quite a lot in this matchup.
Oh, it matters a ton in this matchup. Because if Sebastian can get out early with a turn 2 Thalia into like a turn 3 Leonin Arbiter, then the game's going to be real hard for Harley to win. But if Harley's in the draw, he can start casting his spells through Thalia. He can, he has a little bit more room to play around and things.
And the Arbiter Ghost Quarter plan doesn't work near as well.
Oh, no, it's a lot worse if you're on the draw.
So Harley here looks like we have a handful of lands, a Fire Spout in the mix. Sebastian, was that a no-lander?
I believe he had one land and then a 1-drop and a bunch of like 2 and 3 drops. I think it was one drop, 1 2-drop, and then all 3 drops. Which is not what you want at all.
That's not ideal?
No, it's...
What if you're 1-drop Aether Vial? You still don't want it, really?
Still don't really want it, but like it becomes like tempting. You're like, I can keep this because I have this Aether Vial.
I believe Sebastian's mulliganed every game.
That sounds about right.
But it looks like Harley... Yeah, it looks like it's just 5 lands, a Fire Spout, and I think there might be a Sakura Tribe Elder in the mix. There's a green card hiding somewhere in the middle there, but I can't exactly tell. Sebastian has Aether Vial, Phyrexian Revoker, Burrenton Forge Tender. Looks like a pretty decent hand, actually.
Also, I'm pretty sure I see a Leonin Arbiter in there.
Ooh. That is a hand that he wants for this type of matchup. No, it looks like we have 3 lands and then Forge Tender Revoker.
That's not as good.
Horizon Canopy, Shephet Dunes, and Ghost Quarter are the lands that are hanging out.
I mean, he has some amount of merit to what he can do, but...
Harley here is fetching for a breeding pool, and taps finds an island. And, yep, there is a Sakura Tribe Elder hanging out in the mix. But it looks like, other than this, we just have lands in this Fire Spout, and the Fire Spout gets answered by this Burrenton Forge Tender, so Sebastian does have.
The only issue for Sebastian being that he doesn't really have anything to protect with that Burrenton Forge Tender.
So both players look very light on action at the moment. Eldrazi Temple, Revoker. I think I might have mistaken the Temple for a Ghost Quarter.
That sounds reasonable. They both have generic arts of the same color.
Like that black-gray with a little bit of white hanging out in the middle of it.
And up close, it's really easy to tell apart. But when you're looking at it from like this perspective, it's like really easy to like not be able to differentiate.
In response to the Revoker, Sakura Tribe Elder grab the Forest. I believe Sebastian was just showing us that he was naming Jace with it.
Yep.
And it looks like he picked up a Plains for his draw, so Sebastian's also still light on action at the moment.
Yeah. Sebastian's hand providing very little pressure, and then Harley's hand doing the same thing. But in a game where both players have basically no cards that do anything, I think Harley has better top decks.
So Harley just picked Jace the Mind Sculptor up. What do you think the chances of them trying to 1-for-1 this Fire Spout are, if that's the case?
I think that I like being a little more patient, and Harley agrees.
So, entering a Vial and a Burrenton Forge Tender.
Yes, he did name Jace the best card in the format, Sculptor.
A Vial up to 2 picks up another Vial. Even less action for Sebastian. Luckily, we have a Horizon Canopy, so we do have a draw step. 3 damage coming in, dropping Harley down to 16 here.
And I imagine we're just going to see that Horizon Canopy get cracked here.
Yep, go ahead and see if you can find some action. A couple 2-drops would be good to see in a situation like this. Holding up the Eldrazi Temple, though. Oh, no, we're just going to go ahead and pass or cast the other Aether Vial here.
It does allow him to eventually build up to having a Aether Vial on 2 and an Aether Vial on 3, which is about where you want to be. But he has very little cards to really take advantage of that.
Harley picked up a second Fire Spout here. So here you can go for 1 Fire Spout, which will trade with Burrenton Forge Tender. More than likely, as Revoker's a more valuable card, I believe, than Burrenton Forge Tender at this point. Or we might see him crack the Horizon Canopy in response to see if that's true.
I'm actually interested to see what happens. He's definitely going to crack the Horizon Canopy regardless.
We picked up an Arbiter. Alright, prevent all damage that would deal. And this Arbiter here is an interesting card because now Sebastian's supposed to wait on it with his Vial. So he's just going to go ahead and activate.
At this point, Harley, I like cracking it in response to the activation of the Aether Vial, just because he runs that card.
Yeah. Did he pick up another Plains here? I think we might have just seen another land. Yep, a Temple even. Alright, so Shafet Dunes and Plains are his leftovers, so here Harley gets to cast another Fire Spout, lay a land, and then, but still his only card left over is Jace.
I mean, to be fair, his
Jace is one of the best leftovers.
Yeah, like, I think he'll live.
So Fire Spout, both creatures down. Over to Sebastian. Now we have the 2/3 Vial, but all of our holding is lands.
Sebastian putting the fear in him by activating his Aether Vial.
What fear?
No fear.
Picked it. Did he get it? Looks like an Arbiter? Yep. That is a Cat Jesus.
Yes.
That is the Pyroclasm effect. But here comes Jace the Mind Sculptor, which is going to be quite the problem for Sebastian in this situation.
Yeah, like, Sebastian has nothing to check it, and this Jace the Mind Sculptor is just going to start doing what Jace the Mind Sculptor does.
So, we're just moving right on the Fate Sealing.
I like it.
First turn of the game, or first turn he comes down.
At this point, Sebastian's been real light on threats, and he has nothing, no one card that can be vialed in that can insta-check this Jace on 5.
And Harley here has a Lightning Bolt and a couple lands left over. So while there was definitely consideration to go ahead and brainstorm and get rid of some of these lands on top with his fetch, I definitely liked the Fate Seal there. Because even as mentioned, Flickerwisp would have reset and killed it.
Reset and kill
but Harley did pick up a Lightning Bolt as his draw for
Okay, yeah. So, my bad on missing the Flickerwisp interaction. And doesn't matter that much because the Lightning Bolt, though.
Ooh, this is the position I like being. Man, I don't even care that you're face sealing me. I'm just going at your face.
Yeah, it's a plan.
Harley picked up a Sakura Tri-Belter for the draw, though, so he is a little bit still slightly light on action, and Sebastian did pick up Restoration Angel up as his draw. So Angel here comes down, and, I mean, it's going to target the Arbiter because it doesn't really have any other choices, and I would assume Harley might use a Lightning Bolt on it, or he might want to go out and wait.
Yeah, like, he could very easily wait. This would be a time to do it since Sebastian is tapped out, and yeah, just
tapped out, held out. Yep, so Arbiter down, Restoration Angel is in. So Angel here is a 3-turn clock because of Shafet Dunes.
Yep.
Now the question is, does Sebastian have something to follow up? Because say if Sebastian had an Eldrazi Displacer here, he'd go into the position where he wouldn't be able to, where Harley wouldn't be able to interact with either of his creatures, really. Now, but here, we just have a Ghost Quarter.
So your big issue is that you assume that Sebastian would draw relevant cards.
Just draw some action. But here we are in a world where no action is drawn.
Correct.
This is game 3, as Harley has, for some reason.
Harley can't remember how time works for games, or anything, really.
But, what's going on?
So he was going to sacrifice it, and he was like, I don't need to do that. And then you put it back.
He was going to also sacrifice it into the exile zone for some reason.
He really wants it gone.
I was really confused.
He's also really confused.
What costs 5? What are we doing? What world is this? So Jace is at 9, too, so we're in a position where this is starting to get slightly dangerous. Ghost Quarter, it looks like we're getting targeted at herself because of the top from the Jace. I'm gonna go ahead and get a shuffle. Alright.
Alright, that's fine. Like, you're not losing resources and breaking up what Harley's trying to do with your Ghost Quarter is kind of a pipe dream at this point.
Oh, we picked up a Snapcaster. That was her 5-mana spell. But that doesn't work. Restoration Angel has 4 toughness.
I think he realized that.
Sebastian immediately summoned the card face down, not interested in letting us know what it is.
Now, he wants to build up the suspense.
The suspense for his mono planes deck.
Even though he doesn't run suspend cards.
Yeah. Ooh, Tectonic Edge. I'm not sure why we're not just firing that off to make sure we don't die to Escape Shift.
You can do it in response to Escape Shift.
Oh, that's fair. Oh, because it's not, you don't sacrifice it as part of the cost.
No.
Righto.
which is why it's not completely horrendous against counter spells.
That's right. Brainstorm here, finding a search for his Kanta, a search for tomorrow, and a breeding pool. Interested to see that his Kanta's still, and I'm wondering what he cut or what all he brought in, because we know that fire spots are in, and we know that engineered explosives are broken.
Well, we know he definitely cut the remand.
It might be remand click.
Remand click is most likely what he cut.
Okay.
I can see his logic of keeping the search for his Kanta. It does allow him to turbo out the escape shift a little bit earlier, even though the card is kind of medium in this matchup.
Yeah, it has it has some very strong potential, but there are a lot of games where Sebastian's just a Ghost Quarter deck.
Yeah.
It's usually just going to be 2 mana, scry 1 on your upkeep, and then force a Ghost Quarter.
Yeah. Now, Renly, Sebastian has lethal.
Yes. I wonder. Activate my card. Yep. All right.
Alright, so Sebastian got that one.
In a game where both players pretty much did slightly nothing, the player that has creatures was the one that came on top.
Yeah.
Because
Jace the Mind Sculptor apparently isn't that good.
Well, Jace is a very, very powerful card. When your game plan with Jace is just Fate Seal you.
Yeah. I think that once Sebastian started getting creatures out, and very obviously was just going for Harley's face, he should have started brainstorming to try to find action.
Absolutely.
Because you're not winning the game where you're fate sealing them and you're getting attacked.
Like, yeah, but if it gets to 11, then I'm going to win, right? Or no, 13?
It's to 13.
It's to 13.
At this point, you just want card quantity.
You need to shuffle through, and you have plenty of fetches, you have plenty of ways to shuffle. You need card quantity and quality.
Yeah.
Which Jace, oddly enough, that's one of the reasons he's good.
Yeah, like, I can certainly see getting up to like 5 or 7 with the Jace to keep him alive, but beyond that, you're not winning the game where you're just fate selling him. So, either way, got to see Sebastian take that one home. We're going to go and get to see a slightly less... You know what, that match wasn't very common either. We're just going to see a little bit more of a brewery match. We're going to have blue-green Eldrazi versus green-black Heartless Summoning.
So this deck is very similar to the list that Mikey brought a couple weeks ago. Was it last weekend?
I'm not for certain. I've not been here for a few weeks.
But so it is a green-black kind of value deck. You have your multi-lands coming out of the Sword Tooth, and it looks like we're not playing any copies of Oracle Will Die or anything. This is more of a streamlined build.
So I just want to have a quick note about not the deck. I understand how MTG Goldfish does its thing about the deck organization, but the fact that we have the same card in 3 columns.
Also,
really
one of them is just in the column down there, just by itself.
I don't like any of this. But we do get Sigma cards that don't usually see a lot of play, like Edge of Autumn finally getting time to shine. We have Renly. It may look like it's 4 Dark Blast, but it's actually 1 Dark Blast and 3 Fatal Push as the removal suite. So it's kind of an interesting deck. You have your game plan is going to be a Nyxless and Gitrog Monster.
Yeah, is that something you say a lot? Is that Nyxless the Fallen is your primary game plan?
It's not. For those who don't know, Nyxless the Fallen one is a 5-mana 3/3 that has landfall, drain target player for 3 life, and put 3+1/+1 counters on it.
Yep.
I know this because it was a card that I thought was really good when I first started playing Magic. I was wrong.
It is a mythic in Iconic Masters for some bizarre reason.
It's also a mythic in Zendikar.
Well, that one's fine. Like, and if it's in the main set and mythic, it's a cool card, sure. Iconic Masters.
Alright. So now we're going to get to see a deck that a little bit different here. We got a bunch of different blue-green Eldrazi cards.
I remember looking at this list. Was it the classic or the open that it topped?
I think it was the classic.
Yeah, I think it was the classic. I remember looking at it because I saw the 4 Elder Deep Fiend and was immediately going to try to send it to some people.
So this looks more similar to like a standard deck with your, well, obviously not the standard, but a previous standard deck with your Elder Deep Fiends, your Reality Smashers, Thought Knots, Matter Shapers. You know, you got all the regular Eldrazi stuff, and then you got some disruption in the form of Stubborn Now, Dismember. Noble Hierarchs are just a mainstay in these type of decks, and then you have a couple one-offs in the form of Walking Ballista, Birds of Paradise,
Spellskite, and a Drowner.
Yep, and a Drowner.
All of which you can find through the Sanctums that your Elder Deep Fiends are casting.
Yep.
And MTG Beast, as Corey has stated, hello, but we'll also give you a hello as well. And for the most part, I think all you're doing pretty good.
I think we're all doing pretty fine tonight. Hope you're doing much the same.
But here we're gonna go ahead and get down to this match that I'm sure everyone has seen at their local competitive REL events.
I'm sure everyone's seen it there at local FNM, yes.
But we'll get to see what's probably going to be a relatively interesting matchup. So looking at just the decks, who's favored?
I hate to say it, but no, I'm not gonna say that a Heartless deck. I refuse to believe the Heartless can win a game. Eldrazi.
You just have no heart, huh?
No heart.
Well, I know last week, or whenever Mikey was here, I do believe it was last week, we did see it just fumble a lot.
Well, that's not surprising.
We
at all.
actually saw it enact its exact game plan, exactly what it wanted to do, and it lost.
Yeah. Like, that's about what I would have thought would happen.
Here, Kirby has the turn 2 thought. The turn 2 thought knots here on the play. Seeing a hand of Edge of Autumn, Wayward Swordtooth, Ob Nixilis, and some lands, and we're going to take the Edge of Autumn. Not interested in these win conditions via Ob Nixilis or Wayward Swordtooth, eh?
Yeah, because you have this thing called a threat.
But Connor can play a turn 3 5/5 that cannot do anything.
Kirby can play a turn 2 5/5.
Okay.
They can attack.
So Connor here to pick up a Maelstrom Pulse, so we will be able to attempt to interact, but Kirby has a second temple here. And it's this Smasher. Alright, Nanya. Sweet deck.
Welcome to Modern, kiddo.
You're trying to play your
You're trying to play kitchen top magic, whatever you call it, kitchen table.
Kitchen table, kitchen top.
I don't
huh?
kitchen
We're playing
top.
on the countertop.
You're playing on the countertop.
You're playing against the toaster?
No, you're playing on the you're playing in the countertop. You're trying to pretend you're in Raleigh, North Carolina. I mean, yeah, it's Raleigh, North Carolina.
Was that where that event happened?
That's where the event happened. That they didn't have enough space, so they played on the tabletops. It was Bristol. Never mind.
That's right. Yeah.
Never mind. Raleigh has higher standards than that.
Oh, we picked up a Heartless Summoning. Oh, so now we can go Heartless Summoning into our 5/5 that still doesn't do anything, but now it's a 4/4. What else is Connor playing against? Okay, so Connor will be playing against Sebastian. He'll probably also do nothing there.
Well, no, he'll do less because Sebastian will be like strip mine, and he'll be like, wait, I can't cast anything even harder now.
So Maelstrom Pulse getting cast here, and I wonder what it's going after.
I kind of like the Thought Knots here because you draw a card, but
he's gripping towards the Heartless Summoning in his hand, so I think we're casting it on Reality Smasher, discarding our namesake card. Not interested.
The reason I like killing the Thought Knot is because it doesn't change the clock. So that was a fun game.
Sweet deck.
I really like Connor's deck. He had some good land choices. Connor doesn't sound happy. I'll lay off of him.
All right, so we'll move right into sideboard. Which side do you want to take?
I want to take the side on the right, so
right.
the Eldrazi side.
So we'll move over to Connor because he's the one that's down the game here. So a couple of different card choices. Connor, every time I've seen him play, kind of a champion of the one-ofs. I would expect to see the Slaughter Pact come in here. Interaction is just at its finest, and interaction that you can use while also deploying his 5/5s that can't do anything. It seems good. Other than that, Liliana, the Last Hope, not very good. Creep Corrosion, Calatus, or I could see Kalitas maybe coming in. More than likely, cards like Thoughtseize will be seen here. So, and Courser can kind of help him do his game plan, but it's not really going to block any. So I would think 1 Slaughter Pact, 2 Thoughtseize coming in, and I would maybe think something like some copies of Inquisition of Kozilek and the Dark Blast. And these ancient Abrupt Decays, man, there are a lot of cards on Connor's side that are not good here.
All right, so I'm trying to figure out what exactly Kirby brings on here.
Okay.
I believe he brings in Unified Will.
Okay.
He gets out a lot of creatures early, and Connor's deck is very obviously trying to do something a little bit more combo oriented, and that really does a good job of interacting with it. By that same era, I think Ceremonious Rejection might get brought in because it counters the Maelstrom Pulses, but at this point he hasn't seen the Heartless Summoning, but he can assume something weird's going on.
You just said that Ceremonious Rejection is going to come in to counter Maelstrom Pulses.
I was thinking Stubborn now.
Which Kirby's actually looking to pull out of his deck.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna bring in the Unified Wills, and beyond that, like, I could see...
Your opponent is a green-black deck. What are the chances that you bring in your Obstinate Baloths against Liliana the Veil?
You probably bring that in, yeah. Like, you probably also bring in your Kitchen Finks.
Okay.
Because at this point...
It looks like Kirby's only interested in 2 cards.
If I had to guess, the 2 Unified Wills.
Okay. And I did see Connor pulling in the Slaughter Pact and the 2 Thoughtseize. I'm not sure exactly what he took out for them, but I did see the cards that I assumed.
Also, this isn't me joking around. This is me asking a legitimate question. What did we see Connor play that game?
He put lands into play and cast a Maelstrom Pulse.
Okay, so actually at this point, Kirby has no reason to believe he's anything other than...
He Thoughtseized him, or he Thought-Knot Seared him and saw a Obnixilis, a Wayward Swordtooth.
Okay, there it is. So yeah, we know that Kirby knows that he's not playing against a regular green-black deck and is going to sideboard accordingly.
So Connor here, turn 1 Thoughtseize, he sees Elder Deep Fiend, Noble Hierarch, and a Eldrazi Sky Spawner. Kirby here just going to lead on a turn 1 Noble Hierarch. Haven't seen what he picked up yet, but if there's a Thought-Knot here in the mix, Kirby has another hand that goes for a turn 2 Thought-Knot.
Yeah.
Because of this temple. And Connor here with no turn 2 plays. It looks like there is a Liliana the Veil in his hand at the moment.
So Liliana the Veil, kind of awkward against what Kirby is lining up to do.
Eldrazi Sky Spawner here going to make his spawn with him. And Connor, I think, also has an Edge of Autumn in hand, but I can't get a good, great look at it. What is Edge of Autumn's text?
Edge of Autumn is 2 mana, search your library for a basic land. If you control 4 or less lands, I believe it is. And cycling is sacrifice a land.
Okay, so it's Rampant Growth early, and it's get rid of a land to draw a card late.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
It's a neat card design-wise, and there's, like, a lot of people have tried to make it work at different points in Modern, and it's just kind of...
It was really good during Eggs.
Yeah, but no one really wants to think about that.
Looks like we're just going for the Swordtooth, eh? Another land?
I mean, he needs to play it because his deck needs mana.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Kirby isn't really doing much in the form of... Never mind.
Here's the Smasher. I would like to attack you for 8. You are now down to 8. Sweet deck.
So, this hand from Kirby, nowhere near as fast as the last hand.
Oh, no, not at all. Well, I mean, it's only 1 card off. Thought-Knot Seer is being replaced here for the Sky Spawner, but Connor has done the other points of damage to himself.
That is fair. That is fair.
This is still a 2-turn clock.
It's still a 2-turn clock. It's not... It's the same amount of speed, but it doesn't have the immediate disruption. And swing for 5 with the Thought-Knot as... Like, you're swinging for 8 this turn, so it is the same clock.
And Connor's leftovers here are Liliana the Veil, Edge of Autumn, and it looks like the Gitrog monster. So I don't think we're really doing anything else from Connor's side.
If he's able to cast the Gitrog monster...
That can't block.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was wondering what we were thinking about there. I was pretty sure it was, does this block?
Evidently he wasn't thinking about does it block, he was thinking should it block.
Connor picked up Inquisition of Kozilek here, and so this turn he can cycle his Edge of Autumn off of like a tap land and see if he can find something real, but I don't know what he's
like
really
he floats him on,
to.
Sacrifices the Edge of Autumn, and then plays the Gitrog is his hope, and even then. It's
but so he has to find a land then, and then Gitrog on his upkeep puts him down to 3 lands.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good.
It definitely just seems very, very awkward in the situation.
Oh, it definitely is.
So with an Inquisition here. Okay, I need the actual text on this card. Is it if you control less than 4 lands? Edge of Autumn? Yeah, I think it is. I think he was looking at Rampant Growthing, but he can't. Picked up just another Liliana, and we're dead.
Okay.
Good game.
There's Edge of Autumn. It's 4 or fewer.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, okay, so he could cast it, but it wouldn't really have much of an effect there.
Well, yeah, because he was dead. He needed to, like, draw into something.
What was he drawing into?
No. Hand it to one of them.
Alright. So, hand it to Sebastian.
I haven't played this current.
So, that's Kirby taking a very, very quick, very easy 2-0 victory to Connor.
Yes.
And just, again, for the second week in the row, we kind of just see the green-black deck just fumble. Well, it looks like it's very interesting.
It's very interesting, and it's something that seems like a lot of fun to play. But the problem is that fun decks in Modern aren't always fun because you're like, I'm gonna play this thing that does something cool on turn 4, and your opponent's like, you're dead on turn 3, and that's just Modern.
Thanks. So we're going to be moving on to round 3 here. We're gonna have AJ on Eldrazi-tron versus Sean on Cruel Control.
Now, Eldrazi-tron, if you followed Modern at all, it's a deck you should be familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
This deck is a deck that's seen some play, but I feel that most people won't be as familiar. It's sporting some interesting cards, such as Cruel Ultimatum is the most interesting card. Beyond that, a lot of the cards in this list are actually pretty standard.
What's your opinion on the Watery Grave way in this bottom corner? Just hanging out with these Cruel Ultimatums.
Why is it like this? What's the card behind Spell Snare, though? I actually can't read
behind Spell Snare is Think Twice. So we have 4 Snapcaster, 2 Fatal Push, 2 Opt, 2 Nihil Spellbomb, 2 Logic Knot, 2 Mana Leak, 2 Damnation, 3 Terminate, 1 Engineered Explosive, 3 Think Twice, a Spell Snare, 3 Electrolyze, a Search, 4 Cryptic, 2 Cruel, a Kolaghan's Command, and then your land suite.
So, my initial opinion is going to go back to what I said about the green-black deck. This deck feels like it has a lot of things are a little too clunky. The 3 Think Twice. Even in a deck like Blue Light Control, you're running 1 max of those because it's fine, but you don't want to have 2 of those in your hand at any one point. It's pretty much any deck in the format.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that you're compounding that with 3 Electrolyze, which 3 Electrolyze by itself is fine, but when you're just adding so many cards that don't necessarily do something, it starts to become a little awkward. You also have these Cruel Ultimatums, which don't get cast until much later in the game.
And then especially in a matchup like Eldrazi-tron, we're more than likely just going to see the same thing back to back. We're going to see a player with an interesting deck that has some weird decision choices and very interesting decision trees play against Thought-Knot Seer and Reality Smasher and just not get to play its game plan.
Alright. So they're trying to figure out how to Truman goes first. So the thing is, if you want to play an interesting deck that's interactive, you can't necessarily play cute cards.
Yeah.
You have to play cards that are streamlined to answer things and have uses throughout multiple different matchups.
And there are just a couple cards in his deck that seem kind of questionable, like, is main deck Nihil Spellbomb a card that you want in this matchup?
That's honestly a card that I'm fine with. That's the card that doesn't bother me.
That's one card that doesn't bother you, okay.
Like, because it has enough application. It's more the fact that he has so many cards that do nothing or are really slow.
Like cards like Think Twice.
Think Twice is just really slow. I don't like 3 of them. I think that card... Like, I would honestly prefer Remand. I don't think Remand's that good of a card right now. I prefer Remand because it does something.
I would also prefer, like, a second copy of Search for Esconto.
Yeah, that too. Because it allows you more card advantage for the initial 2 mana invested.
Alright. Sean's opening hand, just kind of doing what I expected to do with a 4 Creeping Tar Pit deck. Snapcaster Mage, looks like there's a Logic Knot, Damnation. Can't get a good look at the other cards in hand, but AJ not sure what his cards do, and plays a Matter Shaper, which is just met by a Mana Leak here.
Yep, that's fine though. Like, that's one of the lesser impactful cards in AJ's deck. It is really good in this matchup because it does replace that stuff, but I'm sure he's fine with that eating a Mana Leak.
So AJ here, 2 mana. Looks like we're going towards a Walking Ballista of some sort. I'm just going to go ahead and pass, and here's Think Twice. That's a position where you want it, right?
That's actually a position where Think Twice is fine, but the issue being that a lot of times you don't have that breathing room.
Yeah. Drago magic, not exactly the type of magic we're playing in Modern.
Yeah.
AJ here, 2 mana. Here's a Warping Whale to make a Scion.
That's perfectly fine. It ramps them up. It allows them to cast something bigger next turn.
Was this a end of turn play? Yes, okay.
Yeah. There won't be much of a reason to cast it in main phase. And he just drew a Smasher, which he can choose to cast here.
Reality Smasher here actually does get around the Mana Leak too, because he has the Temple. So if he or not Mana Leak, sorry, but a Logic Knot. Or if I guess he wants to get rid of one of the cards in the graveyard, it won't. But here's a Walking Ballista with 1 counter. Attacking in for 1. And I mean, this is the type of game that Sean wants to be playing.
Yeah. AJ just kind of stumbling and Sean getting to enact his game plan, draw cards, counter the irrelevant things, and AJ just swinging in for 2 a turn. He did make the play of holding back his Smasher just because it very obviously wasn't safe there. And it's the only threat in his hand, but it's kind of awkward when you're just not doing anything, though. So it's kind of one of those things where, yes, you're playing correctly, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily matter.
Absolutely. And Cavern of Souls going to pay him off for waiting here, because it makes it to where Sean doesn't have the ability to interact with this card on the stack now. and has to worry about removal. And we saw the list, and Sean doesn't have any target removal that actually deals with the Reality Smasher.
No,
but he does have a copy of Damnation in his hand, so on his following turn, he will be able to clear this up. And AJ's hand is left pretty lackluster. Looks like a Walking Ballista and 2 Tron lands that don't complete the power.
Yeah. So this situation is a bit awkward for AJ. If he had no way of knowing that the board would come to this, but if he had held that Warping Well, it'd be real strong right now.
Oh, yeah. Warping Well on something like a Damnation here. Although he wouldn't have the mana to cast it.
He wouldn't have the mana to cast it, that is correct. But if he was able to set up.
So Ballista takes a damage to the face of Sean, and AJ looks like he just picked up another Temple. And here's a Walking Ballista on 3. And if AJ just keeps drawing lands here, this cards like the Seagate Wreckage and Player just aren't going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, like AJ needs to draw something to do here. Especially because Sean's getting to the point that he can cast the namesake of his deck, Cruel Ultimatum, and that card's just completely backbreaking.
Oh yeah, when that card actually has an effect on the game, it is huge, and we're arranging mana. I think we're casting it.
That seems entirely possible. It also looks like he might be thinking about activating Creeping Tar Pit, but I'm pretty sure he is just going.
Yeah, I think we have 3 black in one pile, and then we're looking at blue, blue, and red, red. So I believe this is a Cruel Ultimatum, which it's been a while since I have seen one of those cast.
All right.
I think the last time I cast one was off of an Omniscience, which came into play off of an Omnidaze.
I don't actually know that I've ever cast Cruel Ultimatum in a Sanctioned Magic event. For those who don't know, it's up on the screen, but it makes one player sacrifice. Correct, Art. Makes one opponent sacrifice a creature, discard 3 cards, and lose 5 life. Meanwhile, you gain 5 life, draw 3 cards, and bring back a creature from your graveyard. That's a lot of card advantage.
That is
and
quite
a lot of
advantage.
disadvantage.
Sean's deck not really having the ability to use the return a creature from your graveyard part as well, unless he does have access to Snapcaster Mages.
Yeah.
But AJ here drew all his dust, and it looks like we're just casting it to get it out of the hand for the Seagate Wreckage.
That feels really bad for AJ, but it is correct.
There's a Nihil Spellbomb from Sean and a hand with Snapcaster Mage, Logic Knot, and plenty of other good ones. Tron here active, though, so if AJ draws into a real card... Is that another land?
That's another land.
I see. If Sean plays another land, he gets to snap Cruel Ultimatum.
Yeah, and that's also... Fun fact, the second one, even more backbreaking. Actually, it's about the same amount of backbreaking.
I don't know if it is, because right now all it would do is discard AJ a card.
It would also put AJ at 10, which is a 2-turn clock.
Here we get 2 Think Twice, Flashback, Think Twice, pick up another card. Sean moving rather fast.
Sean a man used to playing fast because he used to play Miracles when top was legal. And
that's fair. Discard to hand size. I don't need this. If AJ picked up just another land here, he's just on nothing to do. Can't get a great look at what it is. It looks like a Chalice. Okay. So what are you putting Chalice on at this point in the game?
Probably 2.
2. 2 seems like the correct number.
AJ agrees.
Chalice on 2. Sean asking how much mana can you make for a Logic Knot? Looks like we have access to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I believe Sean has access to 8.
Yeah, Sean has access to more than that, but yes.
Because we're at 9 lands in play, so we can tap at 7, and then there are definitely 2 cards in that graveyard.
There are a lot more than 2.
So we will be able to get rid of the Chalice here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Count unless you pay 9. Okay. So Chalice of the Void is countered. Reality Smasher will come down though and put Sean down to 3 here. Oh, we do have Terminate. I did miss it. Okay. I'm surprised to see the Terminate here actually because Sean could just, snap Cruel. Who cares?
I think he cares a little bit because the 5.
Yeah, but you gain 5.
Well, Ballista just killed him.
But you gain 5.
Okay.
Yeah, back to Sean's turn and tapping 5, 6, 7. Oh, just 5U and gain some value, not really going off with this one.
I don't think he needs to go off. He's doing what he needs to do at this point.
Picked up an Electrolyze land for turn and hand just full of action here. And AJ Full of action. What do we pick up this time? Oh, Mind Stone, eh? Another redraw.
AJ's draw has not been impressive.
What's under this one? Is it another redraw? Is it another Smasher?
It sure might be.
Looks like we're aiming to tap 5. Smasher crunches in, but it just put him down to 8. There's a bunch of mana. Endbringer, okay. Endbringer less good because Snapcaster, Cruel Ultimatum heals is that one.
Yeah.
We just point this one in the face. Shoot ya. Alright, so Scalding Tarn has to get a Steam Vents though, so Sean does have to go back down to 10, but we're going to be coming back up to 15 here, assuming that another Cruel Ultimatum is what's going to be resolving. But a bunch of lands, Cryptic Command to the draw. Oh, this is the type of Magic I want to watch. Land discarded is or Cleanup Step, and AJ's facing down. Plenty of lethal. Druid Dismember actually uncastable, and yep. AJ loses game 1 to Sean.
Okay then.
Pretty convincingly almost.
Yeah, that's pretty convincing. To be fair though, AJ's draws
were pretty bad.
Pretty awful.
We drew a lot of Tron lands that didn't turn Tron on.
Yep.
We kept drawing lands when we needed to empty our hand to make it to where we could use our Seagate.
Yeah.
But, so I'm going to assume you're going to want to be on Sean's side for the sideboarding.
Yeah, we can do that.
So I'll take AJ's.
Okay.
And AJ's is going to be a little more normal. So 2 Hangerback Walkers more than likely going to come in here. Sean's deck is full of removal. 1-for-1ing a Hangerback Walker isn't exactly the best thing you want to be doing. Other than that, Thorn of Amethyst could come in here.
Yeah.
Makes those think twice real bad.
Correct.
But I wouldn't expect much else. I hope that something like Grafdigger's Cage isn't going to be coming in here because I'm not a big fan of it in this type of matchup. Well, it does turn off Snapcaster Mages. That's the only card it really interacts with. It looks like Surgicals are also in that mix for what AJ wants to be bringing in. And this specifically is the reason that Surgical Extraction is my least favorite card.
That's fair.
Because it makes players just play so heavy into Surgical is great. So obviously I need it.
Yeah. No, Surgical Extraction is a card that is a lot of times overvalued. In the matchups, it's good, it's great, but it's not necessarily good in every matchup. That being said, I don't think I can see all of Sean's sideboard. Were you done with your sideboard?
Oh, I'm done with mine. Mind Stones potentially to come out. All of us, obviously, get that one out of here. Dismembers, no way.
Alright, so we just have this up. At this point, I like the Fulminator Mages. That's 2. I like the Kolaghan's Command. I like the Thoughtseizes. Up to 5 here. Cards I would cut include but not limited to Engineered Explosives, Spell Snare. I just want to cut Think Twices from the deck in general.
Nihil Spellbomb.
Nihil Spellbomb. So we have up to 2, 5, 6, 7. We have a decent amount of cards to cut. At that point, I could also see bringing in Cletus and Vendilion Clique.
Okay.
Beyond that, Fatal Push not that good. Engineered Explosives not that good. You're cutting one from the main board. Dispel pretty bad. Surgical Extraction pretty bad. Collective Brutality useless, and Counter Squall maybe, but
you have to bring your Surgicals in so that when they Surgical your card, you Surgical it in response.
You gotta ask the judge. If you can,
is this how this works? And the judge says yes.
Yeah.
All right. So AJ will be on the play here, and hopefully he'll have a hand that actually does something.
Hopefully. I feel like that AJ should be favored in this matchup, just because Sean is playing a control deck that's not running Field of Ruins.
Yes.
And not running Spreading Seas. And while those 2 cards aren't as good against Eldrazi Tron as they are against regular Tron, they do go a decent bit of the way in preventing them from going too far up with you.
Field of Ruins would obviously be a little bit of an awkward card to be playing in the mana base of a card that requires 7 colored mana.
Yeah, no, that's one of the deck building things about running a card like Cruel Ultimatum, is you kind of have to make your mana base in a way that you're like, I need this amount of mana, and all it needs to be these colors, and it's weird.
You know what Sean never wants to play against?
What's that?
Blood Moon.
Yeah, I mean, he might play against... Alright, so I'm going to throw a little bit of shade here.
Okay.
He might play against a Ponzo player who just kind of, like, watch his opponent loses. Watch all of his opponents lose on feature match. And then he plays against that.
Yeah.
And then his deck does nothing. Sorry, I'm still salty about how that open top 8 went.
Oh, yeah?
because his opponents just did nothing, and he won because his opponents did
because he's
nothing.
Hansa. That's how you win.
That's
you win when you get lucky. But AJ here leading on a Relic Progenitus, so some form of graveyard interaction did come in here. Looks like Thorn of Amethyst, Matter Shape are also in the grip here. So if a Thorn comes down here, he's going to put Sean on a little bit of a back foot, and I'm wondering if he's going to value the Thorn or the Chalice more, and we are going to value the Thorn.
I like that a lot here. At this point, Sean doesn't have a Thoughtseize or anything like that, which are the relevant cards you're worried about at 1, and knowing that, just going ahead and pulling the Thorn out makes Sean's cards like Search for Azcanta, Think Twice if he left them in, etc. It just makes them really awkward.
Looks like here, I believe we're going to be fetching in response and opting.
Yep.
And the Delta's getting relicked.
Yeah.
As usual. As far as leftovers from AJ goes, I know that it looks like Hangerback Walker, Chalice of the Void, and I think a Matter Shaper in the mix, but I'm not sure what the 4th card is.
Yeah.
And as far as Sean's hand goes, having got a great look at it from that side just yet. Opt here, going to look at the top card. I'm not sure how that one works apparently. Ooh, cool ultimatum. We want that one. Nope.
So I have to imagine that AJ also might be planning on trying to get that Chalice on 2, which means he has to wait till he has 5 mana to cast it.
Okay.
But I think that's fine for him because at this point, a lot of what he's seen from Sean's side that he might be worried about is probably on 2.
Alright, so 2nd tower here to match with the rest of her lands. And AJ with a Matter Shaper. So this Thorn definitely putting him just a little bit behind, but not really looking like it's going to have a super high impact on the game in the early stages.
Yeah.
Sean here picking up a Cryptic Command for the draw, has a Scalding Tarn. Alright. Back over to AJ. He picks up a Mines. Okay, that lets him cast this Reality Smasher. So if Sean has access to a Mana Leak or a Logic Knot of some sort, he will be able to use it, but it looks like he won't.
And it looks like he's taking 8, and from this point, I don't know how Sean really gets back in this.
Oh yeah, Think Twice for 3 mana, that's how.
Yeah, he can think twice for 3 on it. But next turn, he can't Cryptic Tap on the team because it costs 5, and same thing for Damnation.
Can't Damnation either.
Also make Boom 90. Thanks for the cheer.
Thanks for the cheer, Connor.
Thanks for laughing at me.
But Sean is going to go ahead and fetch an island to cast front half of Think Twice for what the back half costs. In response, going to get rid of that Scalding Tarn. And I also had realized that with the way that Sean's lands were configured, there wasn't a way to cast Logic Knot if AJ was heads up about it. Because in response to the fetch, AJ can eat the land out of the graveyard before Logic Knot goes on stack. Which is kind of an interesting thing in my opinion. But Kalidas here going to hold back the Matter Shaper at least. AJ picks up another tower. Hangerback Walker and the Chalice as his leftovers. So I'm going to assume, yep, Smasher comes in, Sean falls down to 4, and here comes the Chalice on 2. So Chalice on 2 is going to lock out Sean from having cards like Terminate,
Snapcaster Mage, Mana Lake.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of cards that actually this is very good against.
Think twice.
Typical Joe player.
So Sean is currently trying to figure out what his own card does.
It's probably Japanese.
Unfamiliar with the old Kalidas Trader of Get, I see. But yep, if a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, instead exile that card and put a 2/2 into play. Very powerful card. A card I honestly have been in love with ever since it was printed.
Yeah. So I have to assume that the reason Sean put that in play untapped.
There's a Cryptic coming.
Yeah, we know he has the Cryptic. He's gonna Cryptic tap down the team and most likely just draw a card.
AJ here missed a Relic activation at the end of turn. I don't know if it's something that really matters here, but it would have started working towards getting that Think Twice out of the graveyard that can't be cast.
Yeah, I like doing it. I don't think it matters a ton, but it is something he missed.
In all honesty, let's be real. Activating your abilities that you can activate is better than not activating them most of the time.
Yeah, no, I'm not arguing that by any stretch.
Yeah. So Cryptic Man going to cycle, picks up another Cryptic. There are 2 more to pair with it in the hand. AJ here, it looks like we're trying to cast... Okay, Matter Shaper. I was hoping that wasn't a 2-mana Hangerback Walker, because we were going to have a talk.
No, I have more faith in AJ than that.
I don't.
Sean just plays down a Dakmor Salvage and crunches in for 3 with the Kalidas. AJ moving that Relic on top of the Chalice so we don't forget it this time. Sean gets rid of a polluted delta to the relic activation. And so at this point in the game, how valuable is this relic? Why are we not just using it as a cycling effect?
It's not that valuable. I like cycling it myself, but here we are.
Maybe he's trying to catch a
The Snapcaster gets countered.
Oh, yeah, good point.
There's another Cryptic, and AJ here, 4 mana. Looks like we're just casting a Hangerback Walker, which is not an impressive card in the face of Kalidas.
It is not. And it looks like he's reconsidering it and decided to just not.
We're just not going to do anything, and if that's the case, I really just want to see this Relic Regenitus getting cycled here. Sean's Graveyard is pretty innocuous. The only card that really matters in it at the moment, or the only card that he can use that matters from it, is going to be his Logic Knot. Looks like Sean has Damnation and is figuring out how Kalidas plus board clear works.
Alright, so they're gonna figure out how it basically works is they all die simultaneously, so Kalidas' replacement effect will replace them dying. He will get the zombies. So if he does this, he can put AJ down to 11, then board wipe, get 6 power, and have lethal threatened on board the next turn.
Yeah, because of the Creeping Tarpon that we were able to pick up. So looks like AJ here, or Sean not going to make the play. It looks like.
Yeah, it looks like
2
he's just gonna
mana.
go for the Cryptic value play.
There's a map. Okay, so Tron is online now. Huh. So yeah, so do you let Expedition Map resolve here, or do you just want to find another card off the Cryptic?
So I think that he should just counter at this point. He doesn't need any more cards. And not countering it is just kind of greedy. Because at this point, you have the Damnation to gain a bunch of value. You have the Cryptic Command to stop their team. You have a board wipe. Like, what more? What are you trying to draw exactly?
And the map got countered, and tower number 4 is found off of the land. And that gets countered.
It is countered.
Countered.
Countered. Judge.
That's
Get him,
countered.
Get him, Kirby. Get him.
There's a Chalice on 2, and we have just played a 2-mana Hangerback Walker.
Sean is a man just easily amused.
Can I just say, like, as much as I do respect AJ,
Yeah.
boy, I'll drop the Tron players and Chalice of the Void.
Yeah. Chalice the Void players
Can't
in
ever do
general.
both. You can do one or the other.
But Kalida's gonna come in, putting Sean up to 14 and AJ down to 8. And are we damnationing yet?
Now,
Are we interested in that game plan?
Does he have another crystal?
Oh, he does have Cryptic number 4.
He said, yeah, I do.
I mean, the Cryptic does just win him the game here, so like,
Well, at the moment, no, it does not.
oh, because he doesn't have enough mana to activate a second Creeping Tar Pit.
Yeah, he does not. I mean, if he draws an untapped land, he does. I do like the Damnation here, though, because Damnation just puts him in a pretty much guaranteed lethal position.
Oh yeah, like the Damnation feels correct here, but he can instead go for the value play of Cryptic commanding him again.
Maybe he's worried about these Matter Shaper triggers, because that's what they're asking about right now.
That's yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so here's Damnation. Sean's going to get 3 2/2 zombies. There are definitely 2/2 zombies in that stack.
You knew what you were getting into.
I didn't. I have never met him before.
We all do. The rest of us know.
Tron is finally online.
Alright. I'm sorry for all the laughter, folks. Sean figuring out how tokens work.
Here is a 1 million Hangerback Walker. This one cannot be countered.
It doesn't matter.
Who's
He's
on
dead.
8, huh?
Yep, because there's that land. He is playing Field
Oh, he's a
Ruins.
Field Ruin deck still. I didn't see those in the.
Man, we should actually like look
Pay
at the deck
attention.
list.
I pay attention to the spells. I don't really look
Yeah,
at the
that's not where
lands.
I'm at. I pay attention to the water grave that's in the spell column. But
Yeah,
like,
down there where Goldfish thinks it needs to be seen. I mean, you could just Cryptic and.
why not kill him?
Oh, because you can't Cryptic and activate because of Thorn.
Okay, but like, just attack with the zombies.
Oh. Or.
Like, I get it. You can pass. That's neat and all.
What do we got here? Ooh, Karn,
Yeah. Okay, that's what it is.
Karn going up, huh? There's the fourth cryptic.
That's what it was.
You could also do.
Again, that's why he showed up. Does he have red?
No, he has no red sources in play.
Alright, so Sean's trying to figure out how to cast his Cruel Ultimatum.
He knows he can win. He just wants to do this.
Field of Ruin, you're mine, I guess. I mean, hit a tower. And yeah,
Alright.
we figured out there were, oddly enough, there's a lethal there. So, Sean picks up the match 2-0 in a match I expected him to lose 0-2.
Okay.
Sean stays in battles.
So that's neat.
So,
And
our next match is going to be Kirby and Sean. So Sean, we're going to get another round of Sean.
okay.
And it's
Can you
going
handle that?
I can.
Okay then. That's
The zombies are on the top of the stack now.
good. Yeah. He's gonna pull in the bottom though.
Yeah, your last match now. So we have Kirby with the blue-green Eldrazi list versus Sean on the Cruel Control that we just saw. So we just saw Sean beat an Eldrazi match. But what do you think about
Yeah.
him in the situation where it's against blue-green Eldrazi, which has more consistency?
More consistency, also cards like Stubborn Now and post board, more counter spells.
Yeah.
I like this version a lot more against him.
Mm-hmm.
It has more consistency, as you said, and it just can enact its game plan better through disruption.
And we get a look at the list again, and yep, there is a Field of Ruin up there hiding under the Sulphur Falls Swamp and Bloodstained Mire in column 2.
I don't feel bad about missing that.
It's just still, why is that watery grave all the way down there at the bottom?
I don't know.
And there's Kirby's list once again, rather stock. Hashep Oasis, odd one out in his land base.
Yep.
And then the couple one-ofs in a 1 Birds of Paradise, Walking Ballista, Spellskite, Drowner of Hope, and the rest of the deck. Pretty much all 4-ofs.
Also, Othimnissa one
Yeah,
off. I believe you missed that one.
Sitting on top of lands where it belongs.
Yeah. I mean, you can get lands. You can do a lot of things.
If I could weigh in for a second on that, I was actually talking to Kirby before. So then this is just
Yeah, no. I think it's Green Serum Visions. I mean, that's always been kind of like what that card's been compared to.
No, like,
Yeah.
I actually think the card is very good.
No, I
despite
love
how
Oath
it might have been
Method.
interpreted. It just does so much in this type of deck. It's close to Green Ponder, which is a banned card.
Sean is currently trying to figure out what his main deck and his sideboard is. Somehow there aren't 16 piles, unlike Josh sideboarding.
That's fair. I could just, like, I could tell him.
Whenever Josh sideboards, he's always got like 6, 7 piles going on.
He's scared. He's trying to figure it out.
He's playing cups. But Sean here trying to figure out what his main deck configuration is. He has no clue.
So, I'm gonna tell a story while we're dealing with this.
Okay.
So I played against I played an event recently with Blue Light Control, and I played against humans for 3 rounds in a row. So I just every round just had my sideboard. I just pulled out, and I played against Sebastian and found a round on text, and I was like, this is basically human. So I just take it out, put it in. I don't think about it all, right? Then I draw Celestial Purge. I'm like, that's an issue because his deck is white.
Wait, you paired with Sebastian in the event?
No, this was like an
Oh,
or
okay.
something. No, that would have been hilarious. I only played against one of our locals on Tron. I made his day worse
Yeah.
because he was playing Tron and I was playing Blue Light Control.
But I believe over the course of that IQ, I used a total of 5 of the cards in my sideboard in total. In the 6 rounds I played.
I used a lot of my sideboard, honestly.
Just no.
Where you guys went
Where
for
we just went, yeah.
That was a heartbreak.
I was 4-2 and just conceded to my opponent because he needed points and I didn't, and I couldn't top 8.
I also went 5-2, and because like I wanted to play at the last game because I was trying to give information to someone else who was curious about the deck.
Yeah, I
So.
played Zoo. I played Mantis Rider Zoo.
the one
Deck is a blast. Deck is a blast. But anyways, there is a game going on, and
Sean is thinking.
how many cards are in my opening hand?
You broke for a while. Oh, they're
What are they talking about?
They're trying to figure out how to make it.
He's explaining
Yes.
how it's perfectly equal. You're rolling an odd number of dice or whatever, or odd or even odd.
All right, so Kirby here gonna have a turn 1 Birds of Paradise. So turn 1 Mana Dork is pretty much the best start that Kirby has in any games. Turn 1 Mana Dork into the Temple, power out an Eldrazi of some sort.
Which is why he is running 5 Mana Dorks essentially in his deck.
Picks up an Oath of Nissa and has a Stirrings. I believe we might be missing on our second land drop at the current moment. But luckily, Stirrings and Oaths are going to work very heavily in trying to figure that out. A Botanical Sanctum, the card that Kirby has picked up here. And so we have Sanctum, Oath. Yeah, you do have next match. So yeah, Oath of Nissa here going to get cast. Look at our top 3. We see an Eldrazi Temple, an Eldrazi Sky Spawner. And it's... It is Harley and AJ next. You're with Sebastian.
Yeah, originally you were supposed to be here, but then they switched, which put y'all at last.
So Sean here just shocking in a land, assuming that there is a mana leak effect of some sort, and Kirby here with a Temple. Looks like we're just gonna go for a Sky Spawner, a card that is pretty medium to get mana leaked. So I don't think Sean's going to waste one on it.
Yeah,
and that's the position that we're going into.
Yeah.
It looks like we're probably just think twice in at least, so not wasting our mana there.
I'm upset that this card is being good right now.
Hey man, I love me a Think Twice.
No, I love Think Twice as well. Like I've played it in Modern, I've played it in Standard, I've played it in every format,
but
except for Legacy Vintage,
like the good ones.
The good ones.
Kirby, a second Temple though, and it looks like we probably have access to a Thought-Knot Seer here, and that's what it does look like.
Yeah.
And Sean can't interact with it with just a Creeping Tar Pit up. He does have a Spell Bomb though, so he can use the Spell Bomb to give himself Revolt if he's okay with going down another card, if he has a Fatal Push as the answer to the Thought-Knot.
Which I think that's fine here.
So Sean responding in some sense, and if we're responding, I think that's what we're doing.
He's thinking.
Alright, we have Opt, Spell Snare, Snapcaster Mage, Cryptic Command, Engineered Explosives, and a Terminate. Of these cards, I expect the Terminate to be the one to be gone. Potentially the Cryptic. Yep, 1 copy.
So, looking at it, Sean right now doesn't guarantee to have a land. He does have a lot of looks at a land, so the Cryptic not necessarily good.
That's not where that goes.
Terminate is guaranteed good. I'm sure they'll find that eventually and move it to exile.
I don't see how so many people just have no idea what Thought-Knot Seer's text does.
I don't know.
No, but Kirby should have caught it. And Legacy. Eldrazi.
Alright, so this card.
Elder Deep Fiend.
Real good right now.
Elder Deep Fiend. Kirby, on his opponent's upkeep, is going to cast an Elder Deep Fiend, and he just saw that the coast is clear for this. And we're going to tap down Sean's board and then have an attack for 9 on the next turn. Yep, mentioning that, found the line. I'm going to assume in response we're going to cast this Think Twice.
That would be the assumption.
Think Twice cast in response, and yeah, I don't have any untapped permanents anymore. I really hope that Spellbound... Yeah, get him out of there. Sean here, just playing down a Polluted Delta. And if Kirby has another Elder Deep Fiend, he has the ability to lock Sean into playing a Cryptic Command on it in the next turn.
I don't believe he does, though.
But yeah, here comes 9. Sean down to 6. Okay, this Noble Hierarch Dismember is his leftovers.
Yeah. Those 2 cards aren't very good, but he has put Sean pretty low.
He's put Sean into the position where now his game plan is Cryptic Command until I do something.
Cryptic Command, try to find something like Damnation, or start chaining off, like, Terminates, I suppose. I don't know if he has more than 1 Terminate.
So, Sean here, untapped all his permanents, Nihil Spellbomb, activatable. And we get a draw step. We get to keep playing. But I don't know if he has another land here, and that other land is something that might... Okay, we do.
Yep. And he's just going to pass, and I imagine we're just going to see a Cryptic Command at the beginning of combat.
Kirby picked up an Ancient Stirrings, so I would try to enter combat before we do anything. Keeping up the... Okay, we want to be able to crack or Nihil Spellbomb this turn.
Yep. He wants to go and get a little bit of card advantage, get rid of that card that's just been on the board for a while.
It's more just cycling and making it to his deck's a 59 card deck in this game. And we look at our top 5, and if there was a Deep Fiend here, that'd be good.
Yep. There isn't, but there is a Reality Smasher, which does mean something like Damnation isn't even safe. Suspend Search. Thank you for getting there. Thank you for following us. Always appreciate more follows.
Always appreciate more follows, and if you're spending a lot of searches, then Rug Shift coming up next round would be something that you might be wanting to check out. We'll be having another game with Harley on the Rug Scape Shift going up next round against AJ on Eldrazi Tron.
Yep.
And these Tron decks usually don't look very good against the Scape Shift decks.
No.
That's just your opinion, man. That's just like, well, your opinion, man.
But Sean here at 4, he does have a land though, so he can snap Cryptic and buy himself another turn. That Eldrazi Smash, or the Reality Smasher rather, not going to be all too much of a threat. Wondering here what Kirby's best draw, is it still just another Elder Deep Fiend?
I believe so. Stubborn now.
Did he pick one up?
No, he didn't, but that would be his best draw.
Okay. Snap Cryptic. Alright. So I assume we're just drawing?
Yeah. Tap draw because...
What if he tap bounces and then Kirby gets to dismember him?
That would be silly.
No, but oddly enough, playing correctly. Kirby here, 2 mana, going to go ahead and run a Dismember out on the Snapcaster Mage while we know it's going to resolve.
Reasonable.
Reality Smasher, Yavimaya Coast, and Noble Hierarch leftovers. Yavimaya Coast comes into play. Sean has picked up... I don't see another Cryptic in there unless it's hiding in the middle of the mix. But I do see a Think Twice. You can find a Cryptic off that one.
Oh, man.
Just gonna probably 7 lands past our opponent. Cruel Ultimatum wouldn't do anything here. That Birds of Paradise giving us plenty of insurance for that card.
Yep. Cruel Ultimatum, while it's a strong card, can kind of look silly in the face of an additional creature to sacrifice.
Yep, a meaningless creature on the battlefield. Which, with that being the case, I'm kind of surprised to see Kirby not running out the Noble Hierarch here. Well, I understand you want to not walk into Damnation. Like, your Noble Hierarch isn't going to have a lot of value here. If there is a Cruel Ultimatum, it's going to die anyways. It's cruel, and it makes it to where a Lightning Bolt doesn't get around it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think that I think that holding back is correct. Like, it is a little bit worse to removal spell plus Cruel Ultimatum, but at the same time, I think you're fine with that.
So... Kirby's going to attack, and then Sean's going to go ahead and Snapcaster Opt. So this Cryptic Command works as a bounce draw here, but it's not going to buy him a full turn. Snapcaster probably going to have to go under the bus, and if there's a removal spell for Sean, it's going to have to get fired off here. And if not, Electrolyze plus Lightning Bolt might be his best chance.
Okay. Looks like you just kind of threw down another Snapcaster Mage, and I think we're going to go to double jump block.
Yep, Snapcaster, both my creatures have to block, and that's a lot of Sean's later value being used in that sense.
That's both of his Snapcaster Mages. He can, of course, buy them back with Cruel Ultimatum, but for now, he is out of Snapcaster Mages.
Kirby paying 6. This... Okay, so just paying 4. Yeah, because Temples. Alright. So, Ballista going down on 2, Logic Knot for 4. Going to go ahead and counter that promptly. Can't let a Walking Ballista stick around on the board.
Nope. And Sean is able to leave both of his Snapcasters in the yard if he does get to that point that he can start crawling. Though it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle to get to
Sean
that
picked up a Mana Leak. We still have the Engineered Explosives, which looks like a pretty clunky card in this matchup. Electrolyze also hanging out in the mix. We're looking for something really good here, and I don't know if Sean has it. He needs to draw into a Cryptic and then into a Damnation. Damnation being his best draw, but the Reality Smasher that he knows about is going to make Damnation not work.
Yeah. At this point, his only draw at this point is Cryptic Command, I believe.
Alright, so land comes into play. Think Twice, Spell Snare, Electrolyze, Mana Leak, and Engineered Explosives. So his hand is Think Twice, Spell Snare, Electrolyze, Mana Leak, Engineered Explosives.
Remember when I was like, the clunky hand thing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's all.
But you can Think Twice into his Cryptic Command.
You could. You found a line.
What did we pick up over there, Kirby? Picked up, looks like another squid of some sort.
I think it was another smasher, but I can't be
Yeah,
positive. Yep.
2 smashers in the hand.
And so we're just gonna throw this one out there.
Willing
Possibly
to
as some type of bait for like a sorcery speed Cryptic Command while sorcery on his turn.
So we're going to deal 1 damage to Birds of Paradise and Thought-Knot Seer. This is to make it to where a Lightning Bolt is another redraw if we were to find it. Finds a Terminate. That's probably not going to be enough.
So, I'm pretty sure Sean should be dead here.
Yep, I don't think there's an out. So, Kirby going to get game 1 pretty convincingly.
Yes.
His deck is having a little bit more consistency than Eldrazi Tron, being able to get its threats out earlier, play around cards like Mana Leak better. It's going to work well for him. So if you want to go ahead and take Sean's side.
Sean's side is a mess.
Is a mess.
Alright, can we get the thing pulled up real quick so that way?
Let us get the full deck.
Alright. Boy, this deck. Alright, so Thought Seizes are fine here because they remove the bigger threats and the opponent's deck. Fulminator Mage, once again, good. Cletus, good.
So is Fulminator as good in this matchup as it was in the Tron matchup? Obviously not.
It's nowhere near.
Is it still a card that you consider?
It's a card I consider solely because you have enough cards that are kind of awkward. The Spell Snare does minimal here. The Engineered Explosives, also not that great.
Can I see Kirby's list actually for a second? Just out of curiosity. Let's see how minimal that Spell Snare is, because it looks like it's zilch.
Yeah. So yeah.
The Spell Sky and a 2-mana Walking Ballista.
Yeah.
But otherwise, there are no Spell Snare targets.
Yeah. Like, and the reason I'm taking so long on the sideboard is if we're being on here, Sean's sideboard is weird.
Okay, so back to Sean's list to see what other cards we might
just a quick going out. So the cards that he wants to gut here are Nile Spell Bombs, some number of Think Twices, Engineer Explosives, Spell Snare, Search for Esconta is fine. I could definitely see counting some amount of Electrolyzes.
Okay.
At that point, you want to bring in your Cletus. I like the Fulminator Mages. They're not all that impressive, but they are a card. I like the Thought Seizes. Those are the top cards I would most want to bring in, and probably 1 Fatal Push.
Okay, so we're bringing in those 6 cards, and you're saying Engineered Explosive, Spell Snare, the 2 Spell Bombs, and then maybe 1 Electrolyze, 1 Think Twice?
Yeah, or 2 of one of those cards. Doesn't really matter.
And then from Kirby's side, cards like this extra Spell Sky generally go to this type of matchup. It's going to eat removal spells, that type of thing.
Yep.
Would you be interested in a card like Disdainful Stroke? It answers Cryptic Command, it answers...
Cryptic Command, Damnation, and Cruel Ultimatum.
Well, we haven't seen Cruel Ultimatum, so unless we're using the outside information that we know what his deck is, I'm not sure if I would put it there, but Damnation Cryptic seems fine.
Damnation Cryptic are fine.
Otherwise, Unified Will is probably a card.
Unified Will is amazing in this matchup.
Yeah, you're almost always going to have more creatures than your opponent, and it's not going to be hard for it to be a card that works. So I would think those cards come in. Some of your weirder cards might come out. The 2 Dismembers, maybe some number of copies of Elder Deep Fiend. You don't want to have to get 2 for 1 to counter spells. So that's about where I think we're going to go, and we'll head down to the match. I think they're already playing. Sean leading on a Creeping Tar Pit, while Kirby leading on an Ancient Stirrings off a Botanical Sanctum.
So, no Mono Dork here from Kirby, which means he won't be able to get out of the gates very fast, unless he has an Eldrazi Temple, obviously. But he does get to fire off the best card selection spell in his deck, and in the right deck, it's quite possibly the best card selection spell in Modern.
I mean, a lot of people would probably very heavily argue that Ancient Stirrings is one of the better cards that you can play in Modern when you're in the right deck.
Yeah.
The issue is that the extreme costs that card requires you to jump through make it a less of a hyper powerful card.
Yeah. Now, one thing to note from Kirby's side is he kept the hand that appears to be a little slower here. He's not doing anything on turn, not putting any threats in play on turn 1 or 2. And this means that Sean's going to get to the point that he can start holding counter spells, start holding removal spells, and start getting a little bit card advantage for him.
Sean will be able to interact with Kirby in this game a little bit more favorably. Kirby does have access to a turn 3 Thought-Knots here, because we did see it revealed off of the Ancient Stirrings. Correct. But Sean definitely has ways to interact with that. Picked up a Walking Ballista here, and okay, Cavern of Souls is a reason to keep this hand.
Okay, Cavern of Souls into everything else you have going on is pretty solid.
So Thought-Knots are going to come down. Sean, you have to interact with it as a card on the battlefield, and looks like we have a Fatal Push to check it, but that's going to let Kirby get perfect selection.
It's going to let Kirby get perfect selection, and it's going to eat the most relevant cards from your hand, because Fatal Push is also a pretty relevant card in this matchup.
So push, Sean's going to draw a card, and then we're going to get a look at the grip. So we see 2 lands, Cruel Ultimatum, Cryptic Command, Mana Leak, Logic Knot.
I imagine we're just going to see that Cryptic Command get put in the thing there. Yep.
We're a little bit away from a Cruel Ultimatum, and the other 2 cards not really having that much of an effect.
And I'm pretty sure I see a Stubborn Owl in Kirby's hand, which just laughs at the 7 mana non-creature
spell. Oh, yeah? So Electrolyze picked up from Sean, so that's a redraw there. A Sanctum of Ugin down from Kirby, and reading it, telling her opponent what her land does.
Yeah.
And looks like a Reality Smasher is probably what's coming in here, and just gonna get thrown right at Sean because Sean doesn't have any interaction for it.
And
Sean asking, "Can I counter this?" And Kirby saying, "Well, you can put a counterspell on the stack with it. It will not resolve."
Yes.
Reality Smasher brings Sean down to 13 and Electrolyze. Both at Kirby, eh?
Doesn't want to discard a card. Seems reasonable here.
Strange. Looks like, okay, we're going to start on Thoughtseize here, and we're going to see Kirby's hand now. Elder Deep Fiend, Unified Will, Stubborn Denial, Reality Smasher, Walking Ballista. Nathaniel just sat straight up in his chair.
Hey.
Because I think we're going to be moving on to our 5th round quite soon.
That hand. Pretty good.
So Reality Smasher are going to get taken out of it, meaning that Kirby has access to both of his interaction spells, but he can only use 1 a turn. Doesn't have access to the mana to be able to use both.
Yeah.
Picked up a Sky Spawner, though, so he'll make that Unified Will look a little bit better via Cavern of Souls and the Eldrazi Temple. Yep. We're just going to cycle a Mana Leak here.
I think that's reasonable at this point. He's just trying to put in the graveyard as fuel for like delving and
delving is logic, not to counter nothing.
Yeah, basically.
And that's that. That's the match. All right, so we have Kirby taking a decisive 2-0 victory over Sean.
Yep. So this one we got to see a little more what I was talking about, my concerns with this list. I am a person, I've tried to play Control a lot in Modern, so I know like when it's getting to the point of being this is a little cute. And this is very cute. It's a fun deck, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it's a blast to play when it works, but when it doesn't work, this happens. And
when it doesn't look, it just kind of looks like I brought this weird pile of cards and it didn't really do anything.
Yeah, because if like the Cruel Ultimatum were a different, if like the cards in his deck that are kind of questionable were different cards, this match might have gone completely different.
Like your Cruels were Jaces, if your Think Twices were more interaction.
Yeah, things like that. And these type of things definitely show.
So we'll be moving into our 5th round, which we will have Harley on the Rug Scapeshift deck. Your red-green Scapeshift deck, but you take out your more turbo draws and your Farseeks, your Primeval Titans, and you go more towards cards like Jace the Mind Sculptor, Searcher's Conto, the Vendilion Clicks that aren't hanging out, and kind of more of an awkward mana base to support this, but it overall works.
So one thing of note is red-green shift has always had a really good matchup against Tron decks because they usually can't threaten you fast enough, and even Eldrazi Tron has a hard time threatening fast enough, and their plan just kills you. This deck is sacrificing some of its speed to get counterspells. The counterspells can be good against Eldrazi as they can have clunky draws, but they get checked really hard by if the Eldrazi player sees his Cavern of Souls.
Yes.
That is a concern for him.
Yeah, it is going to be kind of a problem. Both the matches that we saw today, moving into blue, not something that's giving you any advantage here.
Yeah.
And as far as Eldrazi goes, I believe we're looking at pretty much just a relatively stock list. Most of these cards on 4s. 2 Warping Wail, 2 All Is Dust, 2 Endbringer, and 2 Mindstone being kind of the quote-unquote out-of-place cards.
Now,
not really out of
the
place.
2 Warping Wells do come in play quite heavily here.
Absolutely.
Because they can counter the namesake of the other deck, which is the Scape Shift. And if Harley's just planning on having Escape Shift to resolve to win the game, that's going to be backbreaking.
I think that's one of the issues with the Rug Shift deck also, is because other than the couple copies of Escape Shift, your other win condition is Jace, and Jace is not good against Eldrazi Tron in the win condition.
So it all depends on heavily what you're expecting to see, because the Rug, I think the biggest thing you gain out of it is you get to gain some points against the current versions of the Blue-White X control decks.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, honestly, I don't think that you gain a ton. Though, that being said, I do know someone who plays a lot of Magic, and I trust his opinion on a lot of things, and he says that Rug Shift is a deck that he thinks is viable now.
Well, I definitely think it's a fine deck. I just think that if you're expecting your opponents to be on decks like this, that this is not what you want to be playing.
You're definitely, you want to, with this type of format, you want to sometimes just, instead of trying to go for the plan of interacting with them and trying to gum up your deck, you just kind of sometimes just want to be like, here's my game plan, I'm going to go for it.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Alright, so I believe we'll be moving down to our battlefield here shortly, and we'll have AJ and Harley. So, you're still leaning on the side of the ship deck being favored for the most part? Or because of Warping Wail?
I think it's slightly favored, but I think there's a lot of room for AJ to win.
Okay.
I don't think it's one of those matchups where AJ just sits down and goes, where Harley just sits down and goes, I auto-win this, because there are enough ways that AJ can just win. If he has a Cavern of Souls plus, like, a Thought-Knot Seer and some other stuff, it's gonna be pretty easy to just overtake Harley here.
Are they putting some epic sax on their headphones down there?
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like.
I thought that he was gonna play it during the match, and I was gonna just be like, could he not in the microphone?
Currently, phone on the screen playing it. I don't think he realizes that we definitely can't see that.
Could you move the phone? Could you move the phone? Thank you.
Because I think he was trying to show us the epic sax, but there's definitely a glare.
Yeah. As it turns out, when you just have, this thing made of glare, there's glare.
So AJ's opening hand was 2 towers, a Eldra, and an expedition map with a couple other cards with it. He's gonna go in and take a mulligan, and is that just a concession to it being a relatively slow hand? You can't really do anything until your turn 3 with the temple.
I think the concession might be, I didn't see his entire hand, but from what you were describing, it doesn't seem like he has much action. This isn't a deck like regular Tron where you can just keep a hand with all these lands and expect to cycle into your big payoffs, because honestly, you don't have that many huge payoffs. You're just planning on cheating and play your medium-sized threats early.
Mm-hmm.
So mulling here for a more action-heavy hand makes sense.
And the hand that AJ finds has Karn Tower and Ghost Quarter, Warping Wail, All Is Dust, and I can't get a good look at the 6 card.
So
Harley also taking a mulligan.
Yeah. AJ's hand, a bit weird here, and as you said, we don't really know what's going on from Harley.
Tal Zero, thank you for the follow, and thank you for getting there.
Yep, thank you for getting there.
So AJ here has the Expedition map, though, at least to start with it, and if we find another Tron land, our hand is great, because we'll have a turn 3 Karn.
Yeah, turn 3 Karn is historically a pretty good play.
Harley has the historically good play against turn 3 Karn of a Remand.
Yes.
Picked up a Matter of Shaper here, though, and no land to speed up our side of the matchup. But with the Warping Wail in hand, if AJ is able to hold it up on the key points of the game, AJ will have a lot of play in this matchup here.
Yeah. So long as he doesn't get greedy with it and try to make a token or counter some spell that doesn't matter, like a Search for Tomorrow or something like that.
Harley here just going to go in and pick up another breeding pool off of his Scalding Tarn.
Yep. And right now, Harley setting up pretty well because AJ doesn't really have any threats in the early game, which is what he wants to have in this matchup. And since he doesn't, Harley has time to just build up what he's doing.
Picks up another card. It looks like a Jace is the draw for turn. Stomping Ground down. Pass. AJ cracks map. And I think we're just going for a Temple here.
Temple wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, we're going to go ahead and get a Miss Tron land and hope the other one's the one that we draw.
Yeah, I mean, that's a plan. At this point, though, he doesn't really have anything ramp out with Eldrazi Temple. So I think that him going for the greedier plan, considering he has this Karn in hand, makes sense.
Found another Ghost Quarter. So that's going to make it where we can at least play a 4-drop on our turn 4. But Matter Shaper gets our first play, and it looks like Harley's going to be interested in remanding that.
Makes sense. It's stopping the first play AJ is put down, draws him a card, and once again, AJ is not looking very strong here.
Is this a turn where you just slam this Jace down, do you think? He has the mana.
I like it. At this point, like, it's reasonable to think that AJ doesn't have the Temple.
Okay.
And with that in mind, there's no real way to get punished by the Reality Smasher, and once Jace is in play, it starts just drowning your opponent in card advantage.
Harley looks like he has Tireless Tracker and Search for Tomorrow, Scape Shift, and Remand left over along with it. So I think he was thinking about going in and casting the Search for Tomorrow, getting a land untapped, and then holding up Remand. But here he's just going to go ahead and go for the Tireless Tracker and start getting that game plan going.
I like that. It seems reasonable, and it allows him to start getting card advantage, but also leave himself not in as bad a position if the opponent is able to Temple into Reality Smasher.
Yeah. AJ here looks like we're just going to be redeploying this Matter Shaper. Warping Whale, Chalice, Karn, just a lot of cards that don't really have a great effect here.
Yeah, this game really looking pretty bad for AJ.
Oh, absolutely. Wastes his last card in play in hand, and here we're just going to cast a...
Now, this Chalice on 2 relevantly throws away his protection from Scape Shift.
Okay, so he's countered his own way to interact with the Scape Shift.
Yes.
And out of Harley's hand, I'm sorry, the card that I was under the impression that it was a remand is actually just a Snapcaster Mage. Either way, both cards are cards that get countered here, checked by this Chalice.
Yep.
Harley gonna play Jace, draw 3. We're probably gonna see that Snapcaster Mage and maybe this Lightning Bolt being shuffled away here. Looks like we protected something there almost, because I don't think we have a fetch.
I think that, yeah, he has a Steam Vents, which gets him another clue. Just fine. At this point, he's going to be able to start growing that Tireless Tracker as well as drawing cards if he's not able to find a different game plan.
So AJ here picks up another Matter Reshaper. So he can play Reshaper and hold up double Ghost Quarter if he'd like, but he's just going to hold up a single Ghost Quarter. Moving back over to Harley. Oh, you're just ready for it, eh? No faith, huh?
I'm not saying I have no faith, but
But you're saying the players that play Chalice of the Void have no idea how the card Chalice of the Void works?
Yeah. I've been on the opposite side of Chalice of the Void many times.
Oh, Harley's not the one playing with it.
Yeah, AJ's the one playing with it. And we've already seen tonight, AJ not good with his own Chalice.
Brainstorm looks like we're just going to be putting 2 bolts away, maybe another card under it. Alright, 1 bolt gone, another card under it. Island getting another clue. Looks like there's a Cryptic Command in the mix for Harley now. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a Search for Tomorrow being cast here. We're just going to suspend.
Okay.
So I think he still has Scape Shift. So Harley could have gone Search for Tomorrow into Scape Shift and go for the kill with no fear of anything that the opponent could do to him.
Yeah, I don't know why you wouldn't just go for that.
Maybe he didn't realize it?
I'm not for certain, honestly.
Because now we have to wait until we get a 7th land, and I think he has it in his hand, so we're not worried in that sense. But maybe Harley's waiting for an 8th mana just to make sure there's nothing that can happen, because he does have the Cryptic to back it up. But AJ here just going to tap 5 mana, cast a Reality Smasher. That's going to be Cryptic, and the Chalice is getting bounced off of that. All right, so none of that here. Attack for 3 to Harley. I don't think we care about that. Looks like we're going to bolt it.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
All right. See if we get a power plant. Nope, just another smasher to the grip.
So at this point, Harley should have a win.
Yeah. Brainstorm, yep, there's definitely lands in that mix. As long as the Scape Shift actually exists, this should be a quick lethal. Because he can also get to his 8th land here by casting the Searcher tomorrow into the Scape Shift.
Yeah.
So, yep, there is no line that leads Harley not winning the game as long as those cards are actually in hand. I think we might not have the Scape Shift.
I could have sworn I saw the Scape Shift, but I guess I'm wrong.
I could have sworn too, but it looks like we're just holding on to it. Oh, he can't use the search anymore because he just suspended it last turn.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, he still had 7.
He still had it, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not interested. He wants to snap Cryptic AJ more. AJ needs more Cryptic commands cast against him.
AJ is not satisfied with the amount of Cryptics that have been cast.
So 3 mana for a Matter Shaper. Harley is perfectly okay with that. Lightning Bolt the face. We're cracking some clues here, right? Down 1, up 1.
Maybe he's making a challenge out of winning with his Tireless Tracker.
He's trying to win the sleepiest way possible.
Yeah, basically. He's like, I don't feel like searching through my library.
I would like to not have to show my opponent how many mountains are in my deck still. So we're just going to crack 3 clues. Tireless Tracker goes real big. Search for tomorrow being cast. The Tireless Tracker apparently real sleepy, didn't want to untap.
Yeah, he's not in the mood for it.
Oh, there we go.
There he goes.
Island picks him up. There's apparently a Retreat Coral Helm in play. Harley here going to pick his card up for the turn, and there are plenty of cards in the hand now. I'm pretty sure we have some form of lethal here.
I would hope there's some form of lethal.
Oh, maybe he was concerned about these ghost quarters, but last turn, AJ was tapped out, right?
Last turn, AJ was tapped out. I don't know why he was concerned if there was Escape Shift.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what we're worried about. Matter Shaper going to get bounced back to the hand. Tireless Tracker going to come across for a strong 6. Yeah, but now there's the Warping Well up, so Scape Shift can't resolve anymore.
Okay.
We're blocking, eh?
Never mind. Scape Shift's gonna do a resolve.
I think Harley is perfectly okay with that one.
Okay.
3 mana. We're going to double search into it.
Is this necessary?
Yes.
Okay.
Search for tomorrow. He just wants as many clues. He wants to look at Connor and say, I have the city's blessing. No, I knew who I was talking about. AJ picks up a card, and I don't think anything he could draw matters. Thought-Knot Seer is a draw for turn here.
That's super not great right now. Like
4 mana.
4 mana, 4/4.
What you got going on over there, Harley? May I see? May I look? Yep, just snap Cryptic, counter draw, and we're all done here, folks.
Alright, so probably going ahead and taking that first one. Pretty much like I said would happen. Gonna go ahead and move to the sideboarding. Whichever side you want to take.
We'll take AJ's.
Sure, man.
So AJ here has access to 2 surgical extractions. And maybe the thorns, but probably not. Alright. That's my side. You take out these dismembers for these surgical extractions.
So Harley takes his deck.
Uh-huh. Did he just submit his initial 60?
The only other cards that are worth considering are the Creeping Corrosions and the Obstinate Ballads. Creeping Corrosion not good enough. Obstinate Ballads might be worth taking out the Tireless.
Harley disagrees with you. Creeping Corrosion's in his bring-in pile.
Okay, so let's look at what actually hits. It hits Chalice of the Void, Expedition Map.
Okay. Mind Stone.
Mind Stone, Walking Ballista, and Hangerback Walker.
Okay.
Sure.
Graft Digger's Cage. Relic of Progenitus. Ratchet Bomb. Sorceress Spyglass. That one's actually probably coming in, to be honest.
Yeah, that one's actually coming in.
We have a bunch of cards that are stinkers. These All is Dust, these Dismembers, get rid of them. Thorn Spyglass, Surgical, some mixture of those cards.
So yeah, bringing in Creeping Corrosion is fine. It's just, it looks really lackluster in this matchup just because 4 mana to destroy, like, a Chalice. It's pretty...
Hey man, if it unlocks your Snapcaster Mages, I think that's fine.
That's fine, but still, that's 4 mana. And if your opponent has any amount of pressure, that 4 mana is a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Is there any real reason that the Creeping Corrosions are Creeping Corrosions and not Shadowstorm?
I don't think that there is a huge...
Shadowstorm doesn't say... Does Shadowstorm say cannot be regenerated?
Shadowstorm does not say that.
Because Creeping Corrosion does.
Okay.
So that's the reason is to play around exactly Welding Jar?
Well, alright. It's also that 1 mana is relevant because you can turn 3 cast Creeping Corrosion.
Oh, it does say.
Okay.
No, and both of them are...
Because if you notice, a lot of the games Harley's been fetching aggressively.
He's on Simic.
Yeah.
He's very heavily a Simic deck with the mountains are more just the way to win the game.
Yeah.
Okay. We're playing Magic here, not Yu-Gi-Oh!
My favorite art.
Is that the best art? No, I think that's the best art.
That's a really good
I was going to say, like, the Broken Cups.
Oh no, my cup.
Oh no, my cup. My singular artifact. All artifacts in play are discarded. Artifact creatures cannot be regenerated.
You're correct. Ghaxion. Double green is easier than double red.
Okay, I was just wondering on it. Also, I love old templating. Artifact creatures cannot be regenerated.
Yeah.
Oracle that one.
It's been oracled. So, all right, gotta go ahead and wait to see. Is AJ just still shuffling up for his hand?
Yep. Harley's opening hand here looks like it's pretty decent though. A couple lands, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Remand. Looks like there's an Engineered Explosive in the mix though.
That's interesting. I suppose it's a clean way of answering cards like Chalice and Thorn.
Yeah, I would suppose so. Temple and just flip this Matter Shaper off the top. We knew that one was there.
Oh man,
but I don't think AJ has any other lands.
Probably not. Also, I just love AJ's way of throwing things on the table when he knows they're there.
Thought-Knot Seer, Chalice of the Void, Karn in hand, I believe.
Yeah, that's...
Or I don't think it was Chalice, actually. I think it was rather... Also, just importantly, Chalice is not very good in this matchup.
No, it does some work on 2.
But getting it to 2 is a lot more difficult than getting it to 1.
Getting it to 2 is more difficult than getting it to 1. And
we can put a Chalice on 1 now.
Chalice on 1, not counting much, though, from Harley's side. You can counter the Lightning Bolts and...
Are these... Yeah, here's a Ballista on 1. Harley looks like we're going to be remanding that.
I think this is going to be another game that we see Harley win, honestly.
Now, what makes you say that?
Once again, AJ having a slow hand. That's what makes me say it. For those at home, it's just... The way AJ wins this matchup is that he goes fast, he puts a lot of pressure on, and Harley's unable to keep up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Him starting with a turn 2 3/2 into a turn 3 nothing with missing a land drop, that's not doing it here. And Harley's just gonna have all the time in the world to set up his better late game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Harley just, especially Harley's ability to consistently draw the sides of his deck that matter are also just higher. Yeah, he plays more lands than his opponent, all this type of thing. AJ, though, did find a land, and he will be able to deploy a Thought-Knot Seer into no interaction from Harley. So Harley is at 10, so he is putting a clock on him. But Harley's hand is Jace, Cryptic, Engineered Explosives, and land.
Okay, so... Ooh. This is rough.
From AJ's side here, I'm not sure what the best take is. Jace is a little hard for Harley to deploy here because bouncing a Thought-Knot Seer isn't necessarily the best thing that he can do.
No, it is not.
Taking a Cryptic is probably the best choice.
Is correct. It does leave him open to Harley at some point getting this Jace in play. And if he so does desire, he can get the Jace in play and just like bounce the Matter Shaper if he's willing to sacrifice that Tireless Tracker.
But are you willing to put your Tireless Tracker under the Abyss for the turn to keep your Jace?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
No, but that's the question: is do you think that this is a situation where that's your better play?
Not for certain, honestly.
And AJ has a Chalice, a couple Walking Ballistas, and a Karn in his leftovers. If AJ finds a mine, his hand is online.
Yeah. Like, if he finds a land, he actually can go ahead and start doing things.
Be fine. A Reality Smasher, okay.
Reality Smasher.
A little far away from that one.
Well, he's one land away from it.
And Harley here shocked in the land, so Cryptic Command is pretty much a guarantee.
Yep.
Counter draw. AJ here gonna go ahead and put a Walking Ballista down on 1.
It's real medium, but it is more pressure, and right now Harley is at low enough life total.
Yep, in the situation we're in, we kind of just need to put something on the board. Moving back over to Harley. Creeping Corrosion in the grip. Looking a little medium. We're going to destroy our own clue.
Destroy the clue and destroy the Walking Ballista.
I would like to pay 4 mana to destroy my permanent and take 1 damage.
Yes. Correct. Creeping Corrosion, there it is.
Oh, this one doesn't say no regenerate. I thought it did, because green, the green, when it deals with artifacts, generally doesn't like regeneration.
Yeah, so it doesn't, and I think that's fine. Like, you're not worried about the one of Welding Drawing Affinity that much when you're destroying, like, usually Creeping Corrosion is going to be enough nail in the coffin.
Absolutely. Very powerful card. This card that I played like 2 or 3 of in Birthing Pod sideboard back during Malira Pod.
It was the last card that got cast against me before I stopped playing Affinity. Temporarily.
When that happened, you were just like, no more robots.
I was thinking about before the tournament. I was like, I think with the unbannings and everything, I'm gonna try a blue deck, and so far I like the blue deck I'm on. And that Creeping Corrosion was the point that, like, I just had that moment where I looked into the camera and I was like, this is my life.
I really wish I after like kind of looking around, I do really wish I played Dredge again last weekend. But I did really enjoy the deck I played.
That's how I kind of feel about Affinity. If I played Affinity, I think I would have won every single match I played. So there's that. But I had a blast playing this.
I really kind of want to pick up the Mardu Pyromancer deck. That deck is a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it is. And like, I think it's still really good.
Oh, absolutely. I like the 4-color variants that are splashing with Blood Red Elf too.
Yeah.
And Traverse.
I know that Alex is going to be messing around with the Mardu, as well as there's also a Crixus version I believe he's going to try. And that version looked pretty sweet as well. That being said, there is a game going on, and
Harley on his turn just cracked a clue, played a land, got another clue. Didn't really do anything from his side. AJ here picked up another mine, so that lets him cast the Reality Smasher. And that's a pretty reasonable board from him when he looked like he was in a game where he was going to be pretty far behind again.
Relevantly, if Harley doesn't have any interaction, he's dead.
Yeah. We're not going for it, eh? What are you scared of? What are you scared of?
I don't know.
I don't understand why a Reality Smasher didn't join the fray here.
This play actually confuses me a lot, because
like, if he has remand, he's gonna have remand anyways.
Like, if he remands you, he remands you, sure.
Okay, so I think he's forcing the trade with the Thought-Knot Seer, but if that's the situation, you win the game off of the Reality Smasher.
Yeah, like,
confused on how many cards Harley has drawn this turn. Yeah, a clue was cracked, and then Thought-Knot Seer was...
Yeah, AJ looking pretty clueless right now.
Well, both players having absolutely none in play.
Correct.
But AJ here looking at a Walking Ballista, a Chalice, a Karn, and a Reality Smasher. Harley at a relevant 4. One less life would put Harley dead. And AJ is not going to play anything here. Thinking about putting the pump, and if that's your line...
Like, I don't know. That play was really questionable from my side.
So Harley here is going to go ahead and play an Engineered Explosives on 2 or 0. It's going to crack it immediately. Just 1 for 1ing with the Walking Ballista, forcing action from AJ. So what this does is it asks, is a Scape Shift okay? And AJ here going to pump and then double shoot. Harley falls down to 2, but even if Harley had landscape shift, he wouldn't be able to win because his opponent is at 20 and not the relevant 18.
He can kill the one creature that's in play, but that doesn't matter in the face of AJ's Reality Smasher. Now, Harley honestly can make a very safe assumption that AJ doesn't have a Reality Smasher because any sane human being
would have played it, you think?
Yeah.
But now Harley just took himself off of the Cryptic Command. And yeah, So he realized it, and he realized that he left himself dead. And so if AJ goes enter combat, even though if AJ goes enter combat, Harley cryptic commands, Harley goes tapped out, and then AJ does have the walking ballista that he can put on to go ahead.
But still, from Harley's side, that was just incorrect.
Yeah. We moved, so we went from a game where AJ looked very far behind. He kept kind of a hand that didn't do a lot in the early, and he was able to just draw his pieces and get where he needed to go. There were some weird missteps or some weird sequencing where a Reality Smasher was just obvious lethal, and
so there were some weird missteps from AJ's side, but it was a game that you and I both had just pretty much put him off of winning. Yeah, and it does kind of show that Eldrazi Tron does have the power to do what regular Tron can do, and he also randomly didn't have Tron active. He was just casting things for the mana cost.
One less, the Temple.
One less, but that's still, he's basically paying the mana cost for it -1, and that's still.
I mean, the Eldrazi creatures are just powerful as far as they go. Like we saw the colorless Eldrazi deck win that Classic, and then Jonathan Job over the last weekend brought it to the event and took 11th with it also.
Yeah, like all the cards in this deck are good cards for their cost because they have this very specific constraint on how you must cast them. That allows them to be better statted, like Thought Knot's a ridiculous 4-drop.
Reality Smasher is a ridiculous 6-drop, let alone a 5-drop.
Yeah, and Matter Shaper, just a really good 3-drop.
Yep, and Endbringer rounded all off as a very, very powerful top end, not specifically in this matchup, but in plenty of matchups.
No, that being said, I do think we can go ahead and take off the deck list here, but. Alright, so going ahead, and there's a Thorn in play. There's some stuff going on or something.
AJ just went turn 2 Thorn, and Harley looks like we're going to be casting a Vendilion Clique here and checking out what's up top. Looks like mine is the draw for turn from the land, and then there's Chalice, Walking Ballista, Sorceress, Spyglass, Matter Shaper, Warping Whale, and Thought Knot Seer.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on, in response to this click, getting rid of it?
I don't think it's worth. Alright.
You can have anything this Walking Ballista and shoot it.
Yeah. Now, from Harley's side, I could see him taking the Thought Knot, and there's not a ton he's worried about. I could see an argument for taking the Warping Well, but I don't think you're that worried about it.
Harley's leftovers look like there's a Jace, a Mountain, Misty Rainforest, and even a Forest. I think his hand is really light on action.
If that's the case, there might be an argument for just taking the Matter Shaper so that we can guarantee to safe Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Okay.
Next turn. And instead he's taking the Ballista, which is also fine.
Ballista makes it to where AJ can't just easy shoot down this Vendilion Clique. AJ picked up a Power Plant from the draw, so he will have land 4 for the next turn.
This does mean that he will reveal what he drew off of it to Harley, but that's very small.
Fine. It makes it to where if you draw a tower, your lands are just better.
Yeah, no, like, it's 100% correct play. It's just a minor note.
So AJ here thinking about the play. I kind of like maybe say something like a Sorcerer Spyglass here, but that's with some knowledge. So Matter Shaper is also a good play here. Get yourself something on the board to challenge your opponent something on the board.
So I like playing the Matter Shaper more solely just for the fact that AJ kind of wants to be proactive right now. Like, the Sorcerer Spyglass is a good play against the Jace, but at the same time, just getting a creature out is kind of something you want to do.
And that's also just with the knowledge that our opponent does have a Jace up top.
Yeah.
So Matter Shaper coming down. Harley going to search for tomorrow. That's going to cost 1 off of the Thorn.
And also the fact that Harley can't play the Jace this turn.
That's fair. Yeah, Thorn of Amethyst is definitely mucking some stuff up in that sense. I wonder here if Harley, what some of his better draws are. The issue I have with like the Rug Shift deck is if it's not turboing to Scape Shift, it has some really weird draws.
Yeah, I also have some issues with, and this kind of like this is
creepy corrosion, eh?
Yeah, man. So one of my other issues is, and this isn't as big as it used to be, but the fact that all of your main win conditions are non-creature spells. I think that there might be a chance of like something like Grixis Death Shadow popping up again, because honestly, looking at like what's been doing well recently, I think that it's pretty good against a lot of the decks. And
what do you think of Shadow like upping the land count 1 or 2 and playing from Jace's in their sideboard?
I'm not positive. I'm not certain, honestly.
Okay.
I have not sold one way or the other.
So here's Thought Seer off of a Cavern of Souls, sees Jace Creeping Corrosion, and we don't want Creeping Corrosion hanging around.
I don't like leaving him with the Jace because it can actually interact with your board.
Okay, so the Jace here gets checked by the Sorcerer Spyglass that AJ has, and Thought Seer getting rid of Creeping Corrosion means that Harley has no interaction with the Sorcerer Spyglass.
Okay, that's fair, but at the same time, like, Creeping Corrosion just to answer the Sorcerer Spyglass and the Throne of Amethyst is really slow. And when you have this much board advantage, I think that's fine. But I do see your argument, and with Harley not using the bounce mode, I think that this play actually is better.
Yep. Harley here just going to go ahead and brainstorm, and I'm kind of surprised to see him brainstorming because he knows about the Spyglass.
He does know about the Spyglass, but I suppose he just wants to get his 4-mana brainstorm plus time walk in play.
Yes. AJ falls down to 14, but now Harley's facing down a reasonable clock. It's currently a 3-turn, but there are a lot of ways that Eldrazi Tron makes that clock a lot faster.
Yep.
AJ gonna go ahead and play a. Looks like he's looking at playing a Ghost Quarter over playing the second mine that he has in hand. I don't think that really matters. I mean, it's telling Harley an extra card because this mine is the one that he saw way back when with the Medallion Click.
Yeah.
Jace is dying here. Okay, so we're not interested in spyglassing a Jace.
So he gets to save his mana this way and
hold up a Warping Wail.
Hold up a Warping Wail, which is nice because a Scape Shift is lethal at this point.
Mm-hmm. You do have to worry about that as Harley's out here. So Harley here shuffling up, and I don't. What's the last card in his hand? Is it another land?
I think it is. I'm not.
Oh, there was a brainstorm. Though,
there was
so
a brainstorm.
Sure
so
what
like
his leftovers might be.
We'll see. Hopefully for him, it's something relevant.
Oh,
not
absolutely.
A land. He did see 3 cards, so the chances that it's something is pretty high.
Mm-hmm. And we're tonight so far we've kind of just seen the generic power of these Eldrazi's.
Yep, tonight has been a night to show off what Eldrazi can do.
Other than the match that AJ had against Sean, these Eldrazi have just been able to outpower their opponent just on general stats, effects, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, like, admittedly, the decks that have been against them haven't been exactly the best built to beat what they're playing against.
Mm-hmm.
But this is kind of the reason that Eldrazi, if you take a deck with a lot of Eldrazi in your deck, you can do pretty well.
Chalice, Spyglass, Warping Wail, leftovers for AJ. Harley looks like he has Vendilion Click, Remand, and a land left over. So Vendilion Click coming in. Not sure what's going on here.
So I think what AJ's thinking about is Warping Wail targeting the new Vendilion Click in response to the trigger.
We have to resolve the state-based action first.
Oh, we do. And technically speaking, that's how it should happen. But they're not going to.
Okay, so we're going to remand it. And this click going to target AJ. We see Warping Wail, Spyglass, land, and Chalice.
Alright,
Warping Wail to the bottom.
Yep.
Please resolve the legend rule. Okay.
My legends, though. My legends.
Probably unsure about your statement, and we go ahead and get that fixed. Land coming down from AJ. Just not a lot going on. Here's Spyglass. What we got? Land. What's your name?
Okay. So Harley does have an insta win in his deck.
Okay. So I'm going to assume that the Spyglass is on Jace.
Wait, wasn't he at 11? Yeah, okay, he's at 4 there.
There you go. That's math. We're going to get a look at the Spyglass here, it looks like. Source of Spyglass enters the battlefield, look at an opponent's hand, then choose a card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. So it's Pithing Needle, but it gets a peak also.
For those that aren't super familiar with Pithing Needle, relevantly, this can hit fetch lands.
Pithing Needle can as well.
Yeah, that's why I said not familiar with Pithing Needle. So that does allow you, if you can sometimes get your opponent if they
Oh, yeah.
have multiple like
Oh, yeah.
Scalding Tarns in their hand.
You get the old Ancient Tomb on turn 1, see your thing. Like playing Legacy, I'm gonna look at your hand. Oh, we're just gonna double Stone Rain you on my artifact.
Yeah. Alright, so AJ's thinking.
We're deep in the tank here. This Click just has to run under the Thought-Knot Seer at the moment. What are we looking at? 4 mana.
Okay. Uh-huh.
4 mana. Looks like it's uncounterable via... Okay, Reality Smasher. Can't be countered. What you got, Harley?
So, he's picking up some mana.
3 mana. Remand. Okay, so this is getting cycled, but we can't Cryptic. And AJ is going to go ahead and pick it up 2-1.
Alright. So another one for the Squid people.
Yep. AJ redeems himself in this matchup. But
Alright.
his deck kind of not really working with him all that much.
His deck is...
He just like drew his cards on roughly the turns that you would expect them to be cast on, and it was good enough.
So, his deck just, honestly, did not look very impressive in any of the games he played tonight.
I'm going to be honest, that's what Eldrazi Tron looks like.
Yeah, it's what it looks like. Though, there are the occasional games where they do just go curve out into, like, a bunch of big things or have turn 3 Tron, and it's like, this deck is absurd.
Yeah.
But in general, you should expect this deck to be very medium. Very medium.
Yeah, it can definitely be an awkward deck. But we're gonna move into our 6th and final round of the night, where we're going to have Sebastian with Mono White Taxes versus Connor with the Green Black Heartless Summoning deck. Taking a look at Sebastian's deck, it's roughly similar to the matchup, the deck that he's been playing for the last little while.
Yep.
Selfless Spirit Kitchen Finks, the only real changes over some of the other cards that he was playing in the last couple weeks.
So,
I believe it's the Revokers from the main deck went to the sideboard.
This deck has a lot of tools against a wide amount of decks in Modern.
Mm-hmm.
Between Thalia to disrupt spell-based decks, Leonin Arbiter to disrupt decks that care about their lands, and then just stuff like Blade Splicer, Talent Value Opponent, and Flicker-Wisp / Restoration Angel to just create weird things for your opponent to deal with.
And then we also have my favorite thing about the setup, there's the Throbbing Inspector up there with those Horizon Canopies. And there's one down there with the Slicker Wisps. And beside one with the Restoration Angels. They're just all over having a party wherever they want to go.
I mean, they're inspecting all over the place. It's what they do.
And then from Connor's side, we're going to have the Green-Black Heartless Summoning deck. Similar to the one that we were showing last week, I believe, with Mikey. But the changes that are here are there's no Oracle Moldiah, no Vizier of the look at the top card guy.
So this is a deck that Sebastian has a lot of tools to just dismantle.
Absolutely. Leonin Arbiter is a beating.
Leonin Arbiter.
Ghost Quarter with the Leonin Arbiter is obviously very good. Thalia can mess some things up. There's just a lot going on from Sebastian's side that Connor has to answer.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, once again, I just don't like this type of deck in Modern. I understand. I'm not going to fault anyone for trying to have fun, but it should be expected there are going to be a lot of decks that just hard bully you.
Oh, absolutely.
In case anybody was curious, that one time I didn't play Reality Smasher, I thought I had Lethal with Walking Ballista, but I miscounted by one.
So AJ just going ahead and clarifying that one thing that I said no reasonable human being would just pass without casting a Reality Smasher. AJ thought he had Lethal without it.
It's fair.
He can't count that one.
It's hard, man. But gonna look at the opening hands here, and from Sebastian's side, it looks like a couple planes, Aether Vial in the mix. Yep.
Just pretty much exactly what you'd expect from this deck on turn 1.
From Connor's side, looks like a Swamp into an Inquisition as a start. So we're gonna get a good look at what Sebastian's got going on.
Okay.
Displacer, Temple, Path to Exile, a second Displacer, and a land. So there will be a turn 2 Displacer regardless of what happens here.
And Sebastian just presuming that Connor's gonna go for the one Path to Exile as it's the only card in his hand that's not a duplicate.
Connor does have Abrupt Decay, Maelstrom Pulse of the Gitrog monster in his leftovers.
Yeah.
A Horizon Canopy up there also. Sebastian picks up a Restoration Angel. That one's going to take a little while to come down here. But Connor hoping that this Maelstrom Pulse is going to be good enough to clean up these Eldrazi Displacers, and if Sebastian's aggressive and this leads the second one out here, it's definitely going to do that.
Now, Sebastian did pick up the Throbbing Inspector, and given that, I think that he's going to err on the side of being a little more cautious.
I believe so as well. Because Inspector here, you can play Inspector and also flicker it if you would like to do that. And this makes it to where your Displacer isn't... if your once your second Displacer comes down, it makes it to where neither of them really are cards that will be removed.
Yeah. So we're just going to go and see a buffet on it, and in response, we're just going to go and get 2 clues.
Yep, get a second clue, get a little bit extra value going on here. And Connor here picks up Liliana the Veil, Verdant Catacombs, and Horizon Canopy in the grip to be able to cast that if you'd like to. But it looks like we're going to go towards the Tireless Tracker path.
I think that's fine. And right now, this is the type of game that Connor can win.
Oh, absolutely. Sebastian has a lot of redraws here, though. Eldrazi Displacer in hand can be brought in by the Vial, and it allows him to flicker the Throbbing Inspector again if he'd like to. And that gives him a total of 3 clues.
Yeah. Right now, Sebastian is just building up what he has on building up his card advantage and working towards a point that he can start doing the things that Taxes does with the board.
Sebastian here picked up a Lennon Arbiter. Looks like that's what we're going to aim towards, get a little bit more of a wider board here. And while we were talking about Sebastian having the ability to kind of bully on Connor a little bit, we are kind of seeing the other half of that. Where if Connor is left to do what he does, he will be able to gain advantages here. Maelstrom Pulse here going to get cast. It didn't. Looks like we're just targeting the Lennon Arbiter. Going to get rid of that guy.
So just 3 mana to get rid of the Lennon Arbiter really shows that Connor is concerned about this card.
Absolutely. Clue comes down from Connor's side. Get Max in there to hang out with the actual Clue token. And yeah, I don't see much of a reason not to attack with this Tracker. If Sebastian wants to trade his Displacer with, I think you're fine with that, because Displacer is one of the best cards from Sebastian's side.
Yeah, I think Sebastian's instead just going to go and put the Displacer in at the end of Connor's turn and start trying to get aggressive with it.
He's really thinking about it. Restoration Angel is his last card, and I think there's actually a reasonable argument to flashing it in through the Vial, blocking, and saving yourself some damage and getting rid of the Tireless Tracker in this situation.
That's fair. I like the play of not doing that, but there's definitely a reason for both. Also, hello to Slime 5500. Always great to have someone just saying hi to guys, us people, the ones talking. I don't usually use the phrase "us guys."
Us guys.
It's not a great phrase, but here we are.
Just guys being dudes. But definitely, as usual, the regulars in group are also very happy to welcome you to the group.
Yep. So, that being said, Connor is he's at
9
total. Like he's low, but he's not that low. Sebastian does have the Restoration Angel. He elected to not put the Vial up to 4.
And he picked up a Flicker Wisp, I think.
Oh, if he picked up a Flicker Wisp, that's
pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Because we could have put our Vial on 4. If Vial goes on to 4, it's not glaring. But if Vial's on 4, then Restoration Angel can come in to save the Displacer, and you can use the Displacer with Restoration Angel to keep pretty much your entire board safe.
Yeah. I'm going to say that Sebastian's probably correct here and leaving it on 3 because you only have 3 Restoration Angels, and while it is neat to have that trick, I think that he thinks that he can get through this turn because a lot of Connor's removal is just kind of clunky.
And also just picking up the Flicker Wisp just makes it very, very lucky for him. Connor here going to play Liliana the Veil. Leftovers in hand looks like there's a Ramineth Excavator, the Get Rog Monster, and a Ob Nixilis hanging out.
Yep. Randomly, if Connor doesn't have a removal spell, he's dead.
If it is dead. Easy game.
Yeah, because he puts in the Flicker Wisp. He can even guarantee it. He puts in Flicker Wisps, targets the Horizon Canopy on end of turn, casts the Restoration Angel, flickers the Flicker Wisp, targets the Tireless Tracker, untaps, swings for 9.
Yep. So Connor here edicting Sebastian. Sebastian thinking about it, but I don't think there's much really to think about here.
Yeah, you have the lethal.
Is he thinking about flickering it? Oh no!
You had the lethal.
Now we don't have lethal. Okay. So we're flickering it, but we still sacrifice. God, that line just seems really weird.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Like, you might as well try for the lethal, and at worst case, get Path Exiled.
And the Path Exile also takes a damage off of Connor's side, and looking at his deck, it doesn't look like his deck that can really afford to play Path to Exile.
Yeah, I'm saying that's the one thing he'd have. Otherwise, it's like Dismember and okay.
All right, so 3 at Liliana, 3 at the face. Liliana down, Connor down to 6. Sebastian picked up a Throbbing Inspector, and it looks like we're gonna play that while we have this Restoration Angel.
He also this turn I actually like putting the Vial
up to 4.
Like you have such a good setup here.
He's just playing very weirdly into it. What is the card that Connor drew?
I actually don't.
Is it Reki? No, it's. I think it's the land, the colorless land that when it dies you make a 1/1. I played that in my Frog Commander deck. It's a cycle. Okay.
Okay, it's a cycle.
I gotta say, there's no way, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
It's a hard card to tell because it's not an art I'm used to. Because the correct version of that card had a Future Shift burn, Edge of Autumn.
It's also because if I was looking at the art dead on, I would recognize it, but from the top, it's just like a bunch of yellow.
Yeah. Again, just the correct version of this card has a Future Shift. That's
the correct version. You see that? Correct. That right there, if it was like, let's just say a Dryad Arbor, you wouldn't think it was a forest.
Connor, you're going to go down to 5 off of a fetch land. Get a swamp. And it looks like we're still in Connor's main phase here. Clues up to 4, but I don't think we're getting many cracks of those.
No.
Not sure what we're doing with this leftover. Okay. Cycle Forest.
Okay.
Pick up a Thoughtseize. Pass our opponent, who
has you dead.
Is going to end of turn Flicker the Flickerwisp. Flickerwisp UTVs. Tireless Tracker's gone for a turn cycle. But he doesn't currently have him dead because ramming up Excavator can. Okay, no. So the second.
Because he can just
just flicker it out of combat.
Yeah.
Yep, easy. All right, Sebastian gets game 1. A turn later than I think he needed to.
All right.
But if you want to go ahead and take Connor's side, or would you rather take Sebastian?
I'll take Sebastian's side.
All right. From Connor's side, I would expect to see the extra Abrupt Decay is probably going to come in. Clean removal spell for most of the cards that he has. Liliana, the Last Hope, is very good against Sebastian's deck of Flickerwisp and Thalia, and just has a decent amount of play against some of the 2/2s, is keeping them off combat.
Yeah.
Kalitas, obviously fantastic if it resolves.
Yes.
Slaughter Pact is also a card that I think when you're bringing Kalitas in a lot of matches, you're probably bringing Slaughter Pact in.
Yeah.
Being able to Kalitas and Slaughter Pact on the same turn is just very valuable play.
Right.
I would expect to see those cards come in. As far as cards cut, I would assume Wayward Swordtooth doesn't seem very good, but that's just my opinion. That card just overall.
I think the thing is, though, if you're already on this plan, you have to keep the card in.
Okay.
Like.
So are you taking out your Hand Disruption? Or are you taking out your Thoughtseize as your Inquisitions then?
I'm not for certain. Like, I don't actually know. I could see cutting the Edge of Autumn.
Okay.
Making the concession that you're not going for that game plan.
But the Rampant Growth side of it can be very good.
They can be very good. Aside from that, it's like maybe you don't play the Heartless Summoning, but the Heartless Summoning
is like your whole deck.
Is your whole deck. I'm not honestly positive on what you cut here.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the cuts are. In my opinion, I think I would cut some number of Swordtooth and maybe the Thoughtseizes. Inquisition of Kozilek's fine, but
yeah.
You're bringing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in my opinion, and then 3 Swordtooth, 2 Thoughtseizes is just a pretty easy cut in that sense.
That's fair.
As far as Sebastian's side goes.
All right. So from Sebastian's side, I'm just gonna look through and try to figure out exactly what he has that's good and what's not good. The Mirran Crusaders are certainly good. I think there's a good argument for the Gideons here. You're gonna be playing a more mid-rangey game.
Mm-hmm.
Cards that are bad, you don't have a ton of cards that are honestly that bad here. Most of your cards at least have some merit. And I think if anything, you could trim down on some number, just some random numbers like the Thalias don't feel that impressive here.
Oh, no, not at all. I think the full set of those might be able to come out.
Yeah.
For your Double Mirran Crusader Recipes Gideon, kind of how you explained.
Yeah. The only other card that has some merit for coming in here is either is the Phyrexian Revoker has some merit and the Blessed Alliance has some merit.
Okay.
Blessed much less than Phyrexian Revoker, but you can expect some Lilianas, both the Last Hope and the Veil in this type of deck.
All right. So with Sebastian taking game 1, do you think that game 2 is going to go somewhat similar? Do we think we're going to move into a game 3?
I think there's a chance we move into game 3. Connor is on the play. It makes it harder for Sebastian to get a lot of his early things off, and it gives Connor that one extra turn to kind of position himself better.
Seeing Sebastian shuffle, I did see at least one copy of Thalia still in the deck, so not willing to cut those. That's something I see a lot of players that are Thalia decks not willing to do.
So I understand to a degree. She is an efficient 2-drop, like she's a 2-mana 2/1. The issue with her specifically, and with the sideboard playing that I was talking about, is the fact that you bring in this Gideon, and if you bring in the Rest in Peace or whatever, you bring in more non-creature spells, and that's a little awkward in this type of matchup.
Yeah, you're making it to where your sideboard plan is also slowed by your own cards, and then just Thalia doesn't match up well against a lot of these cards. Ramming Up Excavator is a 2/3.
Yeah.
Swordtooth, if it's ever online, is a 5/5.
Yeah.
Get Rog Monster is a 6/6, but I'm pretty convinced that card never comes into play. Omnixilus is a 3/3. None of the creatures that Connor has profitably fights with Thalia in combat.
Yeah. So I think that there is a valid argument. I would be curious to hear exactly what he did sideboard out.
And Gaming Gumshoes, as you are here for the last match, I'm sure you already know, as you were here with us last week, we will be running a replay of it starting right after the stream, so you can catch our other matches. And we had some fun decks and some fun games on camera.
Yeah, certainly some things are worth seeing. Some that are a little anticlimactic, shall we say, like
Kirby
Blue Eldrazi versus this deck.
But thanks nonetheless for coming and joining us for the end of our stream tonight. We are going to be ending quite early for us tonight.
What time is that?
It is only 10.
It's only 10. Huh. Neat. Yes, there were laughs to be had, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Everyone had a great time. Connor did not have a great time. AJ, when he was seeing all those Cryptic fans, did not have a great time. But people had a great time. Mainly us. We had a great time.
There have been some interesting decks. Overall, tonight we've had the Mono-White Taxes and the Greenback Heartless Summoning deck, along with the Blue-Green Eldrazi deck that did well at the Classic this last weekend.
Yep.
The Rug Scapeshift deck that Harley was on. Eldrazi Tron from AJ, kind of your run-of-the-mill deck. The most run-of-the-mill of all these decks. And then Sean playing Cruel Control.
Yep. AJ, no, I'm not going to argue that. AJ's Rage is always funny.
But we got, one game there were 4 Cruel Ultimatums cast, or were there just 3?
I think it was 3 or 4.
I think it was 3. No, yeah, because he killed him in combat, so it could only be 3.
He did not get to have the full 20 damage off of my 7 mana.
Hooey, rampant growth, boys.
It's actually not that bad here, and Sebastian just not having a great start.
Sebastian brought his relics in, which I think is completely fine, and for the 100th time today, here's my Ghost Quarter colorless land mana base.
I think this is a game that Sebastian loses.
Now, what makes you say that?
Everything.
This double relic.
Double relic, he's going to get to do some cycling, but oh, okay. Like, that's not that great when you have nothing in play.
Connor has plenty of lands, Maelstrom Pulse, Liliana, Dark Blast, Abrupt Decay, I think?
So he's going to be able to start eating away at Sebastian's hand if he chooses to go for the Liliana plan. Otherwise, he just has a bunch of things to deny Sebastian resources.
Not just resources, just the ability to play the game in general.
Oh yeah, the ability to play the game in general. It's pretty huge.
Oh, absolutely. And Liliana of the Veil coming in here, going up with that elevator, and land discarder from one side, Restoration Angel from the other. I would be surprised. Yep. Relic Regina is going to get cracked here end of turn. Just find Sebastian another card. Looks like he picked up another uncastable and past exile. Hooey! Horizon Canopy is our first colored source.
Yeah, this game's not looking good.
Sweet City of Brass deck.
Alright, so he gets to draw a card, but that's not that great right now.
Counters just Liliana.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Whatever helps you sleep tonight.
Maelstrom Pulse to Relic. So in response, I would expect to see this drawing a card.
Okay.
This is a weird Maelstrom Pulse. This Maelstrom Pulse is still in the graveyard. Yep.
I'm not a fan of that.
I think it's because he wants to get this Dark Blast running.
I guess that's fair.
Shock Pass, and just holding up Abrupt Decay here. Sebastian picked up a Thalia, it looks like, which is not a good card in the face of Dark Blast.
Especially, like, it just looks real silly when your opponent just standing there with his 2 mana open, and you're just like, I'm gonna play my 1/2.
Yeah,
1.
And there is the Dark Blast, the target creature is -1/-1 with a Dredge 3. Dredge, good mechanic.
I would normally like say some comment of Dredge was a mistake, but
it is a mistake. No, it is absolutely a mistake.
I won't call it a mistake because I'm in love with a mechanic that's also a mistake.
Is it Miracle?
Miracle was not a mistake.
Miracle is absolutely a mistake.
No, it was not a mistake.
A mechanic that rewards luck.
Okay. What Miracle deck that's seen consistent play had luck in it?
Standard Miracle decks.
Well, they did not have that much play. They like
4X Terminus was consistent in all the blue X white X control decks. No, but is Storm? Is Storm the mechanic that you're talking about?
Storm is the definition of a mistake.
Well, I mean, the how bad is a mechanic scale is literally called the Storm scale.
Oh yeah, like Dredge is right up there with it, but
So Sebastian here gonna go ahead and crack a clue. Thalia did come down last turn, which just got fatal pushed, and here's a Lennon Arbiter, which is probably going to meet a Liliana tick down unless Connor picks up a removal spell.
Yeah. I should also mention.
Oh yeah, Bonfire. Hoo-wee. Hoo.
We got a reader. Okay, I can't say anything about Bonfire of the Damned. There's definitely a clip of someone just lock-stacking their way out of Bonfire.
What, the killer Bonfire clip? Like the best clip in the world?
But
Ob Nixilis.
Also, I don't know where the question Affinity came from that was pointed towards me.
Talking about mechanics that are a mistake.
Affinity, firstly,
hold up,
was a mistake. Yes. Pious Evangel.
What's going on here?
A mistake.
So we had the Ob Nixilis on the screen there for a second, and we were able to see the 5-mana 3/3, and he is currently in play and is threatening to start dealing a lot of damage.
Did you realize this deck has a 5-mana 3/3 and a 3-mana 5/5?
Yep.
Weird.
Drain you. Drew a land. Or a fetch land. Fetch land's real good. So 3 counters going Ob Nixilis. I'm going to assume Liliana's ticking down.
Is that lethal?
No, it's going to put Sebastian at 2.
Okay.
Unless Sebastian wants to Ghost Quarter Connor.
He could do that.
Battle. Alright. 9 you. I'm surprised we didn't... Okay, this is a weird order.
Weird order, but sure, man.
What we got? What's your deck doing over here, Sebastian? Ghost Quarter you.
Alright. So that was BM met with BM.
Yep.
I like it.
Alright. So moving into game 3 pretty quickly here. And just that hand that Sebastian had, not a hand that really had any action, and because of that not really have anything to do, he just fell way too far behind.
So this is one of the things I don't like about Death and Taxes personally. So
hands like that.
Yeah, the deck is great, and I love all the weird interactions and the way you get rewarded for knowing how these things work. But then there are times when you just like top deck an Aether Vial on turn 7, and all these other things that can happen, and that's kind of one of the things that puts me off on it. Like the Affinity is somewhat the same since we're on the topic of Affinity and myself, but Affinity's awkward hands, in my opinion, aren't as awkward as the awkward hands.
Oh, I would absolutely agree with you. Also, just that's my personal opinion on this Aether Vial at all as a card.
Yeah.
I just hate playing decks that I like refused to play 5-color humans even though I had all the cards for it.
The thing about Aether Vial decks is they very much Aether Vial has a very high ceiling.
Yes.
But it also has a very low floor. And so like it's gonna see play in the decks it's good in, but at the same time it creates a weird situations where your good hands become better and your bad hands become worse.
Yes, absolutely. So Sebastian, you're gonna be on the play here, and I think I just saw him taking out some number of Thalias, seeing how badly we're against cards like Dark Blast.
Yeah, I think that Dark Blast was the final nail to be like, this card, not one I'm looking for.
So we're gonna be moving into our game 3, our last game of the night, and just again, it's been a pretty interesting night. We've seen some fun matches.
Had some fun moments, had some blowouts.
Oh yeah.
And didn't get to see the like usual what you would see from Modern, but I think that we got to saw some things that are more entertaining. Not necessarily something you would take to say an Open or a GP.
No.
but some things that like you might toy around with for like I don't know a smaller event. Also, Oshi is now hosting us.
Thanks for the host, and hope that everybody watching via you is getting there tonight.
I forgot how to use my mouth for words. I'm sorry.
Ooh, look at that! Or first draw step is an Aether Vial.
Oh my god.
I hate Aether Vial.
And he has a Thalia.
He has Thalia, so... And Connor has the Dark Blast, but he can't do it on the first turn here.
Oh, man.
Another Thalia in hand for Sebastian, along with a Blade Splicer and I think a Kitchen Finks with a land and the Vial that we just drew. And Sebastian giving the Vial a little point saying, whew, that's a good one to draw right here, right?
So he just... I don't think he's actually just going to even bother casting the Aether Vial this game.
Connor picks up Liliana, but does he have a third land? There's Dark Blast. And Sebastian here thinking about what he wants to go ahead and play for his turn. Shafet Dunes as the land. 3 mana, I'm going to assume a Blade Splicer, potentially a Kitchen Finks. Really thinking on it though.
So, Blade Splicer plays around Liliana really well.
And thanks for the follow as well,
Thank you, O'Shea, for following. And also, hey, nice to talk to you. It's been a while for some of us.
I'm not sure I know who that is.
Someone that used to come around locally a lot. So.
Yep, there is the Blade Splicer. So Connor gonna go ahead and dredge, putting a Slaughter Pact, a Wayward Swordtooth, and a Woodland Cemetery into the graveyard. 2 mana, Edge of Autumn. I don't know if he has another land to play this turn.
I have to imagine if he had another land, he wouldn't make this play. And it's also interesting that he chose to dredge the Dark Blast with that.
Oh yeah, on a turn where he didn't need to, potentially hitting a land here would have just obviously been much better. But Sebastian gonna hit Connor down to 15 and play a Tectonic Edge as his land for turn. Here comes the Aether Vial on turn 4.
And the Kitchen Finks, and this puts Connor in a real bad position. Most of Sebastian's board is descending its removal.
No, but it's okay. He has Dark Blast.
He has Dark Blast and Liliana to like
do nothing really, because Connor just picked up a Horizon Canopy. You can't play both. Wayward Swordtooth in the hand, along with Ob Nixilis as well. So Dark Blast going to get rid of this Blade Slicer while we can.
So
Boogie Lily also in the grip, or are we on both Lilianas in hand right now? Yep, yes. We are. Neither of them looking real good here.
So I'm gonna make a weird little comment here. So you ever watch those children's shows where they can have that moment where they're like, "This is the moral of the story, kids." So we're gonna talk about the moral of our story tonight. Clunky decks that are trying to do fun things don't necessarily work in Modern.
No, they do not. I think it's the same thing as like how a lot of people, when the unbannings first happened, there was that teamer deck that like everybody was collectively working on effectively. That was like Bloodbraid and Jace. It was like sweet 4-drops tribal.
Yeah, like
you know what format we're playing, right?
I admit I even tried that one, but like I went into it knowing like this is probably a little too cute.
Tectonic Edge here gonna hit the Horizon Canopy, which is an interesting choice because it obviously just makes Connor sacrifice it. I think I much rather would have. This is the reason. All right, we get a Strip Mine.
Okay, so that he got him pretty good there.
Abrupt Decay, the draw, and Connor just hopelessly. Here's a Heartless Summoning. Is this one gonna pull him back into the game? You think?
I mean, probably not.
Tag you for 5. Put Connor down to 7.
I mean,
there it is.
I want to make a snarky comment about Ponza, but like, we'll hear enough about that later on.
1 mana, 5/5, 4/4. 1 mana, 4/4.
That can't attack or block.
But it is a 1 mana 4/4. He currently has Ferocious.
You can play more basic lands. You can play more lands.
But he doesn't have any of those.
Yes, but you can play 2.
But if he gets Raminap Excavator, hooey, we're on fire.
That value though.
Fatal Push that guy. Deal 3. Here's a Thalia and 100 other things. And Connor, I don't know how we're getting out of this one.
He's going down to 1.
Yep. There's another Aether Vial, eh? Aether Vial and Eldrazi Displacer in the hand of Sebastian. Cram on in. think we can go ahead and put some links for the deck list in the chat here.
Yep. We'll go and get those dropped in the chat here.
And Connor gets beat pretty easily by Death and Taxes in that last game. In a kept kind of a hand that didn't get rewarded from it. A decent amount of interaction looked like it. The ability to potentially play the game later, but Sebastian's mostly disruptive hand, even with the Aether Vial coming on an odd turn, all that kind of thing, was able to eventually overcome the clunky fun deck.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I do have a couple quick things I want to say. Rogue-Scape Shifts is a list that I do think deserves more testing. The matchups we had for it tonight honestly weren't very optimal for showing the reasons why you played the Rug over the red-green.
Oh, absolutely not. Especially because it lost what is generally seen as a good matchup.
Yeah. Blue-Green Eldrazi, this is my first time really watching that deck in action. It's kind of interesting. I think that you get a lot of things that you don't get out of normal Bant Eldrazi, which is neat.
I think it becomes a question of, is Elder Deep Fiend better than some of your white options?
Yeah. Cruel Control, Green-Black Heartless one, those are two decks I still just not convinced are viable. And Tax is a deck that, if you're willing to put up with the very medium draws, it's a fine deck. You get some really interesting interactions on the board, and you get to punish a lot of greedy strategies.
Yes. Death and Taxes, I think, is a deck that a lot of people don't put on their radar. I'm not a fan of the deck just because I hate it. But I definitely think it is a good deck that has its merits in the right meta and with the right configuration.
It's a deck I like playing solely as an exercise of knowing the rules and knowing how to create weird things with the stack.
It's a very rules-intensive deck. But that will be all for us tonight. That is our 6 rounds. And for any of you that have shown up late to our stream tonight, we will be hosting a rerun starting almost immediately after the stream.
Yep.
Where if you would like to go ahead and watch any of the matches and just to go over those matches again, we had Taxes versus Rug Shift as our first round.
Which relevantly was 2-1 in favor of Taxes.
2-0 to Kirby on Blue-Green Eldrazi versus Connor's Green-Black Heartless. And then 2-0 to Sean on Cruel Control versus AJ's Eldrazi-tron.
Yep.
A 2-1 win to Sebastian versus Connor, which we just saw. That's actually a round 6, not a round 4. Sorry, got swapped around there. The actual round 4 was a 2-0 victory with Kirby on Blue-Green Eldrazi again versus Sean on the Cruel Control. And then round 5, a 2-1 victory for Eldrazi-tron over the Titan Shift.
So, that being said, always great having you guys out. And like was already mentioned, we will be showing again. And we will be airing again next week, starting around 7:30.
7:30 EST to roughly 10 to 11, depending on really how much Magic we have planned and how long the decks that we have to play.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Next week will be Legacy, so we'll be showing off a couple cards. I will be at some point playing next week, even though I don't normally do that. But Legacy is a format that I've put way too many hours in, so want to go ahead and try to do that. So
Legacy next week should be interesting.
Yep.
I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be doing for it. More than likely sitting up here, and I'll do some studying.
I know what that card is, maybe.
No, I'll do some. I mean, I know the format. I just don't play it.
Yeah, I'm mostly just joking with you. So, anyways, great having y'all in, and good job by everyone getting there.
And good night from the basement.